now listening to Jason Anderson, and you are in the
line, base hit left field. Massey scores. Isbell is held at third, and the Royals lead 2-0.
Go ball.
Well hit, deep part of the ballpark, turning, gone! Salvi hits a 2-run opposite field home run.
New York is 11 of 29 shooting threes, about 38%. Halliburton, his three is good. But again, 27 the other way with a screen from Shepard. He'll roll and he'll find the defensive heart. Neesmith three, good! Got it!
And I'm surprised they don't have Miles Turner, the rim protector, on the floor as well.
Neesmith three, good! Another one from outside. Neesmith again, three, got it! He's a flamethrower!
I don't know what the controversy there was.
Neesmith, it's a three. Whoa. It's a two-point game.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
a two-point game with 22 seconds to go. Halliburton. He'll take it. He'll backpedal a three for the win. And Bridges goes out on Toppin, setting a screen, flying inside to the hole. It's Halliburton.
Surprised though, New York's not going to put anybody on the ball. They made that inbounds very easy.
Here comes Toppin, got it! Timeout New York, 15.3, Pacers by 3.
Bang! Don't know who's hotter. Halliburton, Naismith, and the Pacers are the Royals offense right now. Welcome to The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Jason Anderson should be back tomorrow. Lot to get into today. Royals, NBA, football, you name it, we got it. Matt Lane at 11 o'clock from KCSN. Josh Kaiser talking Royals with us at noon. Bethany Bowman joins at 1 to play sports or leisure. I do want to talk about the Royals a lot, and we will in this first hour. We're going to go through and give grades. We were going to do it yesterday at the 50-game mark, but why not 51? Right? Let's do the 51-game mark. We will give grades for players overall, team offense, defense, base running, pitching, Q. We'll go through and have some fun giving out grades. With school ending, we will be the teachers on this show. Dylan's going to be a great teacher. I can see it. Just see it in his eyes. It'll be perfect. So we'll do that in just a moment, but I do want to at least start with what might be one of the greatest NBA playoff games we've ever seen, and I am not trying to be hyperbolic. I am not trying to be hyperbolic and just be living in the moment and be a prisoner of the moment, but what we witnessed last night was legitimately historic. The Pacers, down 17, 6 minutes and 46 seconds left in regulation. Down 14, 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in regulation. Down 9, 52 seconds left in regulation. Aaron Naismith, six three-pointers. Tyrese Halliburton, clutch, foot on the line, toe on the line. We saw the most points in a 5-minute span in the second half of a playoff game since 1966/67. Or 97, sorry. With Aaron Naismith's 20-point performance in 5 minutes. The next closest was Ja Morant with 19, Kyrie, Steph, Kobe, AI. Naismith is up there with Steph, Kobe, Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, but he is looking down on them. 20 points, most points in a 5-minute span in the second half of a playoff game, at least since 96-97. The best was Tyrese Halliburton hitting that big shot. At the time, they think it's a three, right? He drives in, runs all the way back to the three-point line as time's winding down launches a three, goes up, hangs in the air as long as a Jonathan India pop-up, goes in. He immediately, again, they think it's a three. He looks over at Reggie Miller, who's calling the game for TNT. Him, Kevin Harlan, as we heard, just phenomenal. And he looks over at Reggie and starts doing the choke sign. The famous Reggie Miller choke sign. If you don't like that, then you don't like basketball. Or you're a Knicks fan. If you don't like watching one of the comebacks of the century with the small market Pacers beating, I know it's the Knicks and it's not the Yankees, but still, New York, then you don't like ball. That to me was if you see that in a Hallmark movie, it's too cheesy. If you see Halliburton and Naismith do that, Naismith 20 points in the last 5 minutes, Halliburton runs back to the line, shoots at the time what he thinks is a three, goes up about 20 feet in the air, somehow drops in, then gives a choke sign with Reggie Miller calling the game on TNT. That, to me, was one of the most fun NBA games I have ever watched. I get it if you're not an NBA guy. I'm sorry, we'll move on soon and talk Royals. I promise you we will, and we'll talk Chiefs. But if you watch that game, or if you like basketball in general, you know what I'm talking about. Dylan and I were talking before the show. He said he had to stay up all night to watch this. He goes, I could not fall asleep before, and I was getting chills. And I go, I feel you, brother. I'm in the exact same boat. And then, of course, it goes to overtime. How easy would it be for the Pacers to collapse? How easy would it be for the Pacers to fight all the way back and then realize, man, we are out of gas? Didn't happen. Obi Toppin shutting the door. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton as well. But the Pacers win Game 1 in Madison Square Garden, 138-135 on a ridiculous shooting display, mostly behind the back of Halliburton and Aaron Naismith. Aaron Naismith, 8 of 9 from 3 in this game, 30 points. Halliburton, 31 points, 11 assists. I mean, Siakam, 17, and Miles Turner and Nembhard, all those double digits go almost under the radar. TJ McConnell, again, 10 points off the bench, maybe the most underrated bench player in the NBA. He has been for about a decade now, starting with my Philadelphia 76ers. Obi Toppin, drafted by the Knicks, and the man who put the nail in the coffin of Game 1 in Madison Square Garden. Poetic. Dylan, when you watch that game, you can almost tell you're watching history. You can feel it permeating throughout your body. Does your thought process change of how this series goes after that Game 1? I mean, if you're the Knicks, this is the ghost. Now, I will also point out, when Reggie Miller hit the choke job on New York in 1994, what happened?
They lost that series.
The Knicks won in 7 games. The Knicks ended up winning that series. But Tyrese Halliburton actually brought that up. He goes, I hope it goes a little different this time after the choke job sign. But what do you take away now after Game 1?
That I don't think the Knicks have enough players to keep up with the Pacers. Like, they were tired after 1.5 quarters last night. I just felt like the Knicks kind of were able to stay in the game with an outstanding offensive performance that they don't really put out very often. So I don't know if they can really bank on that, except from Jalen Brunson. But him and Karl Anthony Towns go for 30 and you lose.
43 and 35,
place.
Respectively.
So
78 points between Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. Yeah. 78.
Like, what can you do more if you're the Knicks? And the Pacers just feel like they thrive in that situation. Like, they're comfortable. Kind of like the Chiefs are when it gets late. Like they say, we're actually we know our fans hate it, but we don't really feel that uncomfortable when we're down 10 late in big games.
True.
It's how the Pacers feel because they do it over and over again. So,
you know what game I go to that I brought up earlier on? It was a learned funniest or best. I forget what it was earlier on in the season, and I said the Pacers, I think it was 11 guys. I think it was 11 guys in double figures.
Yeah, they have like those nights a lot.
Remember that, though?
Yeah.
It was 11. It was absurd.
I think it was like 150, didn't they put up? Or
it was something.
Crazy
It was nuts. But it was all balanced scoring, and no one had scored 30 points in that game. I remember that because they scored like a historic amount of points, like 11 guys in double figures with no guys scoring 30. You know why? Depth. And I think that's the best point you brought up was the Knicks. They've been going this 7-man, 8 at most rotation for the last 2 months of the season, trying to fight their way and get into playoff shape. The Pacers have so many guys they can go to and throw at you that depth, especially at this point in the season,
right?
It matters.
And the way Halliburton plays is he like gets people going. Like he is the person that is trying to get people's like shooting nights started. Like he is trying to facilitate and make sure everyone gets theirs. Then he's going to start scoring, and that's dead when he does start. Because there are nights when he won't put up 30. He'll have like 8 or like a dud points wise.
Sure,
but he'll still have like 18 assists, and the other guys will have like you said, like they'll have 11 in double figures.
Yes, I mean
so. That's where I think the Knicks are kind of in a bad matchup. Like they're a good team, they're just in a bad matchup.
Yeah, and I've said this for a while now, and again we'll talk Royals and Chiefs, and we'll move on because I know again this is people.
By the way, you said Obi Toppin was drafted by the Knicks. Do you know who was drafted at number 12 by the Kings?
Oh, it was Halliburton.
Yep, in the same draft.
Because Sabonis was actually drafted by the Pacers.
Correct.
Yeah. And I'll move on because I know, again, a lot of people probably aren't interested in the NBA over here, but I just have to get this off my chest because I am a big NBA guy. Going back to the Kansas City Kings days, maybe we'll have some of that in Sports or Leisure, some NBA history talk, some NBA history questions. It's possible. But for people clamoring, they want to go back and see more 80s, 90s, even early 2000s basketball, right? These 4 teams, 3 of them specifically, I think, with the Knicks, the Pacers, and OKC, you have it. You have 3 teams that the Knicks, phenomenal defensively, right? That's their calling card. You want old school, very physical defensive battles? That's the Knicks. I know it wasn't in this game particularly, right? But that's because the Pacers were historically hot. If you want to see a team that is all about the team, you like OKC and you like the Pacers. Again, their superstars, especially the Pacers with Tyrese Halliburton, is a facilitator first and foremost, right? That's what he does. It's good team ball. If you like the Spurs with Tim Duncan and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili and Bruce Bowen and all those guys, well, then you should like this Pacers team. And so I just want people to give it a chance. I know there's a lot of people that have their own preconceived notions of the NBA. They don't care. They think it's all about
well, those people will never.
And maybe they never will.
And who cares?
This is my plea of give it a chance. Give it a chance because I think you'll be.
It's a great 4 teams that you really can't. If you're not just someone that's like beholden to ratings and having major markets in a championship game, you're actually happy with these 4 teams. They're actually all really great teams and have great storylines, all of them. And they have the Knicks if that is what you want, which is the tradition, major market, yada yada.
And
because all the other teams are not expansion teams, but they're not the old school, the original 6-ish. I know that's NHL, but
still, it's not the.
Yes, it's not the Celtics.
It's the Celtics, Lakers,
right?
Kind of to an extent, the Sixers.
You can even say the Spurs.
The Spurs,
like those type of teams
recently,
that have been around for a while.
Or even in recent years, it had been Cleveland and Golden State.
Yeah,
right. You finally have a wide open NBA field where any team and anything is possible, in the words of Kevin Garnett. And what's great is the most local team, Oklahoma City, is in it. And they won game 1.
They're like the best team.
Yeah, 68 wins, man. So that's all I'm going to say. We'll move on. We'll talk some Royals now because I just had to get it off my chest, though, because huge NBA guy, and that game last night was, in my opinion, one of the greatest games. That was the 30 for 30 Reggie Miller game last night. That's what unfolded. and Reggie Miller was on the sideline to witness it unfold part 2 in front of his own peepers. I like calling eyes peepers now.
There you go.
It's a thing I'm doing.
I can't reach the button. There it is. The way you can tell that the Pacers are so much better, like, conditioned is Chuck said it in the postgame, was that Nesmith, like, you're still hitting threes and you were running around with Jalen Brunson the whole game.
Yes.
Because not only do you have the depth to do that, but also that's their game. They love to get out and run and up the, not to be punny here, but the pace of the game.
Yeah.
Like, that is what their whole brand basically is. That's why they score 150 points. They don't play defense. That's what everyone kind of knocked them and really put them to the side for in the postseason, was that they didn't expect them to play defense. But, you know, last night they didn't, but they still won.
Yeah.
So, on the road.
So, let's talk about another offensive explosion that happened last night, and that's the Royals. 8-4 victory over San Fran. Every single guy in the starting 9 got at least one hit. Did they all score a run?
Because we were facing one of the best pitchers, you know. That's why.
Dude, how often do we say this?
Yeah.
How often, and I've joked about it, but I'm not really joking when I say it. Like, there's a small bit of joke in the overarching theme that is the Royals are really good against great pitchers. They suck against the quad A guys, the dudes you've never heard of, the guys that get called up for one start.
Good news about that is, who do you think pitches in the postseason?
The studs.
Usually the good pitchers. So.
Although I can't say much because Noah Cameron's coming up. He would be the guy that no one has ever heard of and then just
you
deals
don't
against
have
their
film
team.
or
Yes.
data. It's not exactly. I mean, we'll see.
But still, the point remains, the Royals do really good against these all-stars, these all-star pitchers. Logan Webb, even after that blow-up yesterday, has a 2.67 ERA on the season. I mean, he is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, you know the name regardless of stats. Like, that's how you know he's a great pitcher.
Yes.
Basically, when you say Logan Webb, when you say Chris Sale, those names, the ERA is almost just understood that it's going to be sub-3.
And how poetic is it that the Royals offense against Logan Webb, and when they have a bullpen game, they score 8 runs. This was a game, we're heading into it at least. You had to think the offense has to be the one that carries the load. The offense did. I'm impressed. It's one game, but this is what they needed, and there are some positives to look at. Salvi finally hit a home run. Finally. He'd been stuck at 2 for, 2 months? Season's not 2 months old, but you get my point. And it was an opposite field home run. It was right center. And Rex Hudler talked about it on the broadcast, and I thought it was interesting. He keeps bringing up how if you hit to right field, if you're a right-handed hitter, if you're lefty, you hit to the opposite. Just if you hit to the opposite field, you see the ball longer, and eventually that is actually what gets your power swing going. And I've kind of been like, I don't know, Rex. I get where you're coming from, but I don't know if I believe it. What happened, I think it was the next at-bat, or maybe it was the second one after. He hit a home run to right center, right? It wasn't a pull. It was a home run to right center. And so I wonder if that little almost booty knock, it wasn't quite a booty knock because he didn't really fall out of it. He stayed on it. But that little slap hit to right field earlier got Salvador Perez back going. Because while that was a slider blown away, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a full count, correct? On that one he hit for a single earlier on. I think it was going to be a walk. It was a ball, but it was a full count. I get why he swung at that one, a slider blown away. But he stayed on it. It wasn't the traditional Salvi rolls over or Salvi swings through it. He stayed on it and shot it to right field. And then the home run to right. Like, these are the things that the Royals need and what we can look at that hopefully gets these guys going. Because I keep saying underlying numbers and all this stuff, and Salvi's been struggling, the pitch selection, and Salvi laid off a couple of sliders in this game. He hit one that was a ball, but still fairly questionable in a full count. Hit it for a single. Like, this can get these guys going, and the Royals need Salvi and Vinny and quite frankly, Bobby to get going. Michael Garcia, again, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. They put him in the leadoff spot. Obviously, no India in this game. But Michael Garcia's swing has just been so pure. I don't know about you, Dylan, but Michael Garcia might have my favorite swing on the team. That includes Bobby Witt Jr. because, like, if you're teaching a kid...
I'll go second favorite, but yeah.
How about this? If you're teaching a kid, you teach him Michael Garcia's swing because you can't teach him Bobby's. Like, full transparency, you have to be so athletic, so strong at that size. Like, it's like Mike Trout, right? I think Bobby Witt Jr. has the most compact, strong swing that we have seen since Mike Trout. I'm like, you don't teach that. That's generational. That's its own category. Michael Garcia is what you teach kids.
Smooth.
Smooth, level plane. How long does his bat stay in the zone? And it feels like this year, I can't wait for him to come up when there's guys on base. Because I feel like Michael's going to come through. And I don't feel like that with a lot of other guys on this team. Most guys on this team. But the Royals offense broke out. Drew Waters with another 2 hits. But maybe the biggest one. Not just Salvi's home run. Was it Michael Massey with 3 hits? Is that the most important takeaway for the offense of this game? You and I talked about it yesterday. We had a long segment on Michael Massey. Long segment. He responds going 3 for 5. Now, I'm not saying that negative reinforcement works and that he listened to this. I'm not saying that. But it feels like anytime we rip on a guy with negative reinforcement, it works, Dylan. I'm just saying. It worked with Vinny.
Yeah.
It does not work with Renfroe.
No.
It does not work there.
We pick and choose where it works.
We pick and choose where it works.
Where that, you know.
But Michael Massey came through 3 for 5. Again, that is a step in the right direction. That's big.
We'll take it. Hopefully they build on it, you know.
But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like with Salvi hitting an opposite field home run and trying to get back in the swing of things, and Michael Massey with 3 hits, like those are the guys that need to get going. I trust Michael. For the most part, I trust Bobby this year. Bobby's runners and scoring position numbers have been down, but he's starting to come through 2 RBIs again last night. Vinny has been on the cusp, what it feels like for how long now? 3 weeks?
Right.
2 weeks?
Are we still tied for second wins in the AL?
Third.
And the sky's falling offensively. And it rightfully so. So imagine what it looks like when they do figure it out. And
looks like last night.
Right. But it's going to get hotter outside. Bobby's going to get, into the July, August version of himself, which is it's Barry Bonds, where you might as well just walk him every single time and give him one good pitch to hit all series. And we're still, again, like you said, third best in the AL. We just play in the best division in the AL.
And also, for all the talk, and yesterday was I think rightfully so, we ripped on the offense and we talked about it and who to bring up and who to send down, Cam Devaney versus Michael Massey. The Royals just took 2 of 3 from a team that currently sits at 29 and 21.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We're a good team.
On the road!
We're a good team. We're just having struggles offensively, and when we figure them out, we're going to be a great team.
Royals took 2 of 3 on the road against San Fran, who is 29 and 21. That team.
We need Raul Ibanez to have the meeting again where he goes in and tells them like how scared the league is of the Royals and what they could be if they offensively turn it around.
What?
We're that away from 2014 all over.
So
again.
Who would that be then? Which player? Because it can't be Raul Ibanez now. We got to figure out who that would be.
Might be Salvi.
Currently,
I'm trying to think though. So you have to pick like a player coach.
Yeah. Trying to think of who would be still around. Is Escobar still in the minor league system somewhere? Can we get Esky?
I don't know.
Rattle the cages?
Maybe.
Before we take a break, I do want to, when we come back, give some grades on the season so far, 51 games in. Daniel Lynch, Jonathan Bolin, Steven Cruz, Taylor Clark, Angel Zerpa, in 8 innings gave up 2 runs. That was big, man. Taylor Clark, yet again, 2 innings, no runs. Steven Cruz had a little issues. Bolin had a little issues. Daniel Lynch had a little bit of an issue. They got out of it. Anytime they had issues, they never let it compound. And Daniel Lynch, again, 3 walks, a hit, and it got a little dicey there. They bring in Jonathan Bolin for the last out in the second inning. He gets out of it. Then Bolin starts to get a little dicey in there. He finds a way to get out of it, giving up 1 run. I was just impressed with the Royals' ability to battle in this game in a situation that they have crumbled more than thrived. In a situation in a rubber match game or a rubber game where if you win, you take the series. If you lose the series. They've struggled. They dug deep, found a way, and another tiny bit of positivity. I'm glad Ursig gave up 2 runs last night. You know why, Dylan? It doesn't matter. You're not going to be perfect. Like, as great as Wade Davis was in his season with the Royals, the best, maybe the best reliever season of all time, he still gave up a run or 2, right? It wasn't a 0.00 ERA. Would you rather have that happen in a close game or in a blowout? I want to see, again, I want Ursig to have the lowest ERA possible. I understand that. Point remains, you're not going to be perfect. So if you are going to have a bad appearance, do it when you're kicking the other team's ass. Maybe that's the numbers in me, right? If you know me, I'm always like, if a guy's been hot for a long, long time, I might take the opposite. If a guy's been cold for a long time, I might take the opposite. Betting probably hates me for that reason, or they probably love me for that reason, right? They probably love me. That's the way my mind's wired. So with how great Ursig has been, all right, this might be a little reset. This is his bad outing. Now the next few are going to be electric. We'll take a break, come back, give out some grades for the Royals 51 games in the zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We're going to be teachers, Dylan, you and myself, and we're handing out grades. I think school's out. I think Alice Cooper said that. But also I think school's out because I live right next to Shawnee Mission South, and it feels like every single night there's a graduation. I have no idea if there's like a pre-graduation then a real graduation, if they split it in half. But like for like three days out of the past week or so, there's been a graduation at Shawnee Mission South. Does every kid walk multiple times?
Yeah.
I'm befuddled.
It's that time of year, folks.
And
the neighborhood traffic is going to be aplenty.
And I live right by.
Drive slow.
I live right by South, and it's very funny to me because I was driving back last night from Men's League, and I was cracking up because there's all these cops, all these cars, and they're all pulling around in this little cul-de-sac that I live in. Like my house is kind of in that, and I think they're all thinking that I'm either I graduated or like a kid that's graduating. Which wow, that would good for me. If that were the case, my middle school years would have been way more wild, I guess.
What's more disrespectful in your eyes?
That
you're too old or too young? Like that you were graduating high school?
Yeah, no.
I think graduating high school.
I don't know, man. That'd be a good skincare routine. I'd take that. That'd be a positive. So I'm trying to pull in, and all these cars are in, like, blocking my driveway, and I'm trying to, like, maneuver around. They're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, this is my house. I'm trying to get in, please. It was my fault, I guess, for the time I left, but no one cares about that. So let's talk Royals. My point is, we're giving out grades like we're teachers in honor of kids graduating, which congratulations if you graduated high school to all those kids and family and everyone. That's happy for you guys. So congrats to the graduation class of 2025. Wow, I feel old. That was 13 years ago for me. All right. Let's start, and we'll go quick through the players, and then we'll do overarching thoughts, okay? If that works for you. Vinny so far. Graydon Vinny.
I'll give him a C. And you'll probably be able to tell by my teaching style that I'm very lenient here. So I'll go C.
I think C minus for me. Offense has been bad, but it's turning around. He's been the best power hitter on the Royals so far with 8, right? I think so far, if you're going with home run counter, I'm not super upset with the home runs so far. That's about in line with where I thought. But I think his defense, for the most part, has actually been really, really good.
Right.
He's graded out very favorably at first base. You look at outs above average, you look at range factor, you look at all these things. Vinny's actually been very impressive at first base, so I want to give him some credit for his defense while obviously having to knock him fairly significantly for the overall lack of offense so far. Bobby Witt Jr. Bobby, what grade you giving him through 51 games?
A+. Extra credit.
Ooh, I don't know. It depends on how you view it, because I had...
Where is this team without Bobby Witt Jr.?
No, agreed, but it's like, are you grading him on a scale of the average dude or the guy? Well, if it's that, then yes, it's an A+. If it's what I expected Bobby to be so far this year, it's like an A-. And I might go A- based on why can't you be a better base runner? The program with Curtis and Petro did a phenomenal job last night on that. Why are you laughing?
Let me think of the other guy's name. Petro, yeah.
Yeah, Curtis, and who's the other guy? Like, who's the main guy? I always forget his name.
With Soren Petro and Curtis Siebel, yes.
No, the program with Curtis Siebel and Soren Petro, I thought. Maybe that's on me.
Yeah.
No,
it's Kyle Collier.
Sorry, Petro. I had a lot of thoughts in my head, okay? It's a scary place to be in my dome. Point remains, they had a great conversation, Petro and Curtis, yesterday in regards to Bobby Witt Jr. and stealing bases and all of that. I almost got to knock him for that a little bit because the entire offseason was talking about how he's improved here. He's going to get a lot better at this. He's the fastest guy in Major League Baseball. He should be ripping off way more bases, way more consistently, and it shouldn't be close. Feels like every time he even steals a base, even when he's successful, it's let's go check the monitor. Let's go check.
I'll take away the extra credit. Still A+, but there's no plus or extra credit. I'll agree with that.
He's been great, but I'm almost grading him on a Bobby Witt Jr. scale, which is unfair maybe, sure. He's still been A minus. Damn good, though. No issue with Bobby. Salvi.
I think I'll go B minus again because I still believe your catcher is not someone you're supposed to bank on offensively, and he's an older player. He's the captain, and he does a lot more than just hit. So while his offensive numbers aren't great, I think what he provides is much more important than that. And a catcher really, again, is not – you shouldn't be expecting your second baseman or your catcher to be your offensive powerhouse.
But he is, and that's his gig. He's also DH and playing first base. He's DH and playing a lot of first base.
That's what I've said B minus.
D plus. I've been very disappointed in Salvi so far this year. The underlying numbers are still great, but at some point you have to produce. I see a little bit of a Kendrys Morales rebound. I don't know if you guys remember the year when Kendrys Morales came in and was absolutely ripping the ball. I'm talking smoking the ball. And he was batting like 190. And everyone was mad. And then what happened in the second half of the season? Yeah, he ended up batting like 280 with like 30 bombs. Because all those hard hit balls eventually turned into hits. He didn't change anything, but the ball started to fall because the process was so good. Perez isn't quite doing what Morales did that year, but the process for Salvi, for the most part, has been good outside of his perpetual ability to swing at bad sliders low and away. But I do think last night was a takeaway game, a building block game. I've maybe said that too many times for Salvi, maybe making too many excuses, but results have to happen. They have to count for something. So D plus so far. He's been below average. He's been, is that passing still? Is a D plus barely? I know in college, D's get degrees, C's get diplomas. Salvi so far has been a D plus. I've been a little disappointed so far.
A D plus, I feel like you can work with the professor and get to the C minus.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, hey, the process has been okay,
right.
But like, come on. You're using the wrong your and your. The wrong there and there. That's where I'm at right now. Michael Garcia, A+.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to. And maybe it's unfair for the Bobby Witt Jr. and Michael Garcia. I'm grading them on slightly different scales, but Bobby Witt Jr. is in the upper level, the honors class. Okay, so I'm grading them on slightly different scales here. You know what? No, I'll go A. I'll drop it down to A. Stolen bases again. It's the base running for Michael. He's running way too many times and getting thrown out way too much in the base pass. Last year, he was phenomenal. Last year, he was a savant on the base paths. This year, he has struggled on the base paths. But 860 OPS, phenomenal defense, batting 315, 377, 483 split line. Michael's been outstanding. But again, base paths holding him back from being an A+. India. This is an intriguing one. India.
Yeah. I'm going to have to go D+ on this one just because what he was brought over to do, and he's not doing any of that right now. And then mix in the fact that we don't know where to put him defensively as well. So, and you gave up a pitcher that's also, I don't know what he's doing as of recently.
5 ERA.
Okay, so not great as of recently. So he started off hotter than
Yes, agreed.
We thought. But, yeah, I'll go D+ on this one.
You and I will be the same teacher, D+.
Nice.
On base, 327. Way better than anything in that spot last year, leading off. But, man, you can't be batting 234, 327, 310 slug and play that defense. That's what it comes down to. It's that defense. It's just been really, really bad.
You got to do something good.
Yeah.
You can't be bad at everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying you cannot struggle at everything.
And, again, he has a track
word.
record. I think he gets it back. Michael Massey.
I'll go same grade. I'll go D+.
I'm going D-. The defense has barely keeping him afloat. I'm hoping last night, again, three hits last night. I'm hoping that's a building block. But Michael Massey, you know my thoughts. I was team Cam Devaney. I was team bring up someone else instead of him after last night. Last night, he baked me a pie. That's basically what it was. If I'm a teacher, he baked me a pie, and I kept him from failing. Those 3 hits were the pie. Thanks, Massey. Kyle Isbell. A+. A-?
Yeah.
For what we thought he was going to be?
Yeah. He's just a consistent player.
736 OPS. Defense has actually been a little worse than I thought it was going to be. I mean, defense has been really good for Isbell. I'm not saying it's been bad. But there's been a couple plays where I go, hey, Kyle, as great as you are defensively, I feel like you should have made that play or taken a better route. But overall, he's your 9-hitter. OPS in 736. What's that? Second highest? Third highest slug on the team. Kyle's been great.
He's in the second leadoff spot for the Rays model. You know, we said that yesterday.
Drew Waters. I'm going B.
Yeah. I agree. That's what I was thinking.
We'll go quick through these last guys. Renfroe. F. Fermin.
I'll go B+.
Wow. I'm going D+, C-. Devin has been really good.
I just think he's a pinch hitter, sub guy that, is here for what he's,
I think people are looking too much at last year. He's OPS in 557 this year. He's batting 236. He's really struggled this year. I don't understand why. I think people just they like Freddie. I like Freddie too. Dude has struggled with the bat this year. Really struggling. Something to keep in mind there. Freddie's been a little pretty big disappointment with the bat so far. Mark Canna, C+, B-.
Yeah.
Fine. Kevin Biggio, D+.
Sure.
D+ right in there. That's the bats. Pitching overall, A+.
Right. It's the only reason we're where we are now.
I didn't even go through every single player. It's all A+. Outside, I mean, again, just overall, I know Zerpa's not been great and all that stuff, but overall, this pitching staff, and Jason brought up this question, was this 2 weeks ago? And he said, is this the best pitching staff since what, the 80s?
Yeah, not in my lifetime.
Like, we talked about it. I go, I don't know, we might give 14 or 15 the nod because of the bullpen. We might still give him a slight edge. I don't know, man. I think I'm ready to say it. Since the 80s, in my lifetime, in Dylan's lifetime, this is the best pitching staff we have seen. I'm there.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm there. I'm ready to say that. Let's take a break. Good job, teacher Dylan. Mr. Michaels. Take a break, come back to Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Too difficult. And now look at me. Now I love numbers. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Matt Lane joins us in the next segment. Going to talk some Chiefs. A lot to get into with Matt Lane. Do we talk tush push? Nah, probably not. I'm done. Dylan said if I bring up that name yet again, what if I call it the brotherly shove? Will you not fight me then?
Talking about that player rule change in any way is annoying.
There's a small thing I want to talk about.
We've talked about it
Because
enough.
it's funny, though. Matt Lane up next.
when this moment comes. Like, right? Like, what am I going to say if or when we do win this vote and somebody asks me what I think about it, given I'm obviously who they're going to come to? And this is what he or a group of people came up with to be like their big punchline. That was the closer to like a statement. It's insane that he got there somehow.
So
I mean, it's Philadelphia, so at the end of the day, it's the most on-brand thing as well. So it is what it is.
I guess in fairness, yeah, Dylan, you're right. That is the most Eagles-Philly thing of all time. How can we be super uncouth? Like, how can we be so raunchy? Like, how can we one-up ourselves? You know how we're all here in suits and trying to do this and be classy? Let's be as raunchy as possible. You know?
Follow-up question. Follow-up. What's your over-under for what week that Nick Sirianni brings it back around for some reason in some kind of random
opening night?
When they get
isn't that the over-under?
They get
one?
their rings, and he goes, "Get in our ring." To me, this is like a wet dream for a teenage boy. Like that's he's gonna try and throw it into as many conversation pieces as possible, guaranteed. Good call, Matt. Great call. The other part two of this before we move on, because again, I'm done talking about this as well, because Dylan and I are on the same page. We think it was silly that this was even brought up for debate. But the final part here is the Chiefs were team banned this. Because the 10 teams came out that were opposed, right, to the bill, which means that they were team on the Eagles' side. I thought the Chiefs would have been on the Eagles' side, quite frankly, in this, because I think it looks a little soft. I know it doesn't matter. I get all that, but to me, it looks a little soft that the Chiefs weren't on this and that they were on the team ban the tush push. What were your thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised. So my thought is, I think that people expected it to get banned. I think going into the day, there was some like leaks from various places, not saying, calling anybody out, but various places that said it sounded like it was going to get banned. So I think going into the day, there was probably a lot of owners that felt like they were going to be in the vast majority and get this rule pushed through. Whereas if you know it's not going to be passed, you probably don't want to be one of the 22 teams, one of the 22 owners that voted to get rid of it, right? So I wonder if they were caught a little blindsided thinking they were just going to sneak in with the masses in terms of shutting it down, and now it looks worse that they are one of the teams that decided to try to get rid of it. However, I think I saw that no team or only one team the Eagles played last year decided, hey, we should keep this in the league. It was all kind of teams they didn't play or something like that. So I don't have feelings on it one way or the other. I think the play's boring, so I think that my rule would be, hey, let's get rid of it because I don't like to watch it and has nothing to do with being fair or anything like that. I just don't like watching it. So if it goes away, I'm a happy camper just for that reason.
Wow. Okay, hater Matt Lane on here.
Right.
If he doesn't like it, that he thinks it should be banned. Wow.
Clear about this. It's because of boring play.
Wow. Okay, so just running the football. Can you ban the Chiefs trying to run it on 4th and 1?
We need to ban cover 2.
We already did that.
We can ban cover 2 as well, like Mel Kiper said.
Ban cover 2, yeah.
But it's boring. It's a boring coverage.
Should just go 707. Bring it back. Bring it to the pro level.
No zone coverage on defense. Man coverage only. You got to beat your guy, okay? And no double teaming Chris Jones because it's boring. So you can't double team Chris Jones. That's the Matt Lane rule. Matt Lane of KCSN is our guest. You brought this up on Twitter, and I want to get your thoughts on it because you said it's been a long time. Finally rewatched Super Bowl 59, and you ran down your biggest takeaways heading into 2025 for the Chiefs. Let's get into that. What were your biggest takeaways from the beatdown of Super Bowl 59?
Yeah, okay, so takeaway number one was you got to ban the tush push. No, I'm kidding. That was nothing that came out of it. I mean, going back to watching it, I think the biggest thing that sticks out is don't play guards at offensive tackle. Right, and this is the second time now the Chiefs have been put into this situation because of injury. And, I understand that there probably was not a better option than Joe Thuney playing left tackle in that situation. But we saw it in the Tampa Bay Super Bowl a few years back. We saw it in this one with 2 weeks to prepare. Once you start to get more snaps on tape, there's a reason that guys that are playing offensive guards, and sometimes it's because they're just really good at it, but there's also a reason they don't play tackle. And I think the Eagles watched enough film, specifically that Texans game where they were kind of having some success running through Joe Thuney's chest, utilizing their length and kind of long-arming and bull-rushing him over and over again. And I think you just saw that play after play. Not that Thuney was the worst offensive lineman on the Chiefs at all. It's just it was an issue. And I think the Chiefs have now tried this twice where they've kind of had to play a guard out at tackle rather than trusting one of their backup tackles instead. And I think that maybe, just maybe, that's not the best route they should keep going because I think It shot them in the foot 2 different times in the Super Bowl now where they've had to kind of be forced into that hand.
So I guess as they head into 2025, I think we all agree the Chiefs are in a much better spot than they were last year, although I will also point out folks were really high on Kingsley Suamataia, just how folks are really high on Josh Simmons. I get the pedigree is different, but yet that somewhat remains the same. Obviously, Jalen Moore, I like the bringing him in, even with what we know now. I know a lot of people are like, well, what if you paid, $30 million overall dollars to a backup swing tackle? And I'm sitting here going, yeah, but with what was known at the time, they thought Josh Simmons might have been gone at 32. Then where are you? Then you might have to try Kingsley Suamataia or bring in, Donovan Smith. So I actually like the thought process of what went and transpired at the tackle spot for KC this offseason. But are you pretty enthused with what, Brett Veach did overall, trying to shore that up?
Yeah, for sure. No matter, I guess, how it plays out, you're looking at the left tackle position just in isolation, and it's a lot better spot than it was last year. And understandably, people were high on Kingsley, but we have to remove, I guess, our opinion on him coming out of college into the NFL. He was a late second-round pick, and we're comparing that to, in this year, Josh Simmons, a guy that was a late first-round pick, but really only because of injury concerns, was a guy that belonged in the top half of the first round. So they're just the rookies that were even in consideration here, I think, are vastly different talent levels. So you go in with that, and then you also consider they added Jalen Moore, who has only started in little bits and spurts throughout his career backing up Trent Williams, but he's at least shown you that he can play at this baseline, if not a little bit better, starting left tackle for stretches. So you're entering next season with clearly a better spot than you went into last year at the tackle spots. Oh, and by the way, Wanye Morris is still available. Presumably he's not going to injure his knee in the lead up to the preseason and be a little bit behind in that regard as well. So the tackles are in a better spot. You obviously have to figure out how you replace Joe Thuney or how you get along with that. But we've just done enough of this dancing around trying to figure out how do you make it work with bad offensive tackle play? How can we build this offensive line around a super strong interior? And while there's definitely some perks there, I think just in the biggest games, time and time again, we have kind of seen the deficiencies that come with having a bad tackle. So I like their approach to try to fix it and going at it from multiple angles. Here's a ceiling piece with Josh Simmons. Here's a floor piece with Jalen Moore. I don't care that they're paying a little bit of money and spent a first-round draft pick. This is a position that needs to be solved, and this is kind of the best way to go about it.
Matt Lane of KCSN is our guest. Takeaway 2, what'd you have? So you mentioned the offensive line play, playing guards out of position at tackle. What was your other takeaway from Super Bowl 59?
I think it might be time for Andy Reid's passing offense to go through a little bit of a change. And we saw it in 2022 after they traded Tyreek Hill. Like, the passing offense definitely started throwing the ball less vertically, a lot closer to the line of scrimmage. And part of that was the players they had. But I think they understood that, okay, how defenses are playing us in 2021 while we still had the best wide receiver, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, just wasn't working. And so now you get through, 3 seasons of this new version of the offense this past 3 years. And now I think you're getting to the point where what they were doing for those 3 years maybe isn't the best plan of attack anymore. And it's hard to separate everything that the passing attack did from what the offensive line did. But I think you just go back and watch so many plays the Eagles had 5 or 6 coverage players to the Chiefs 3 or 4 wide receivers on one side of the field, 2 seconds into the play. And there's just no way to create space that way. So I just think that Andy Reid, he obviously knows way more about football than any of us. I think it's just time to start hitting a few more adjustments. It's time to back off some of the things that he's been using as his, primary passing plays every single game for the past 3 years, because teams are starting to get a little bit better read on it, and they just need to maybe dial back into a little bit more balanced sets, a little bit more 2x2, 2 receivers to each side. Look at some of the things that McVay and the Rams are doing. Look at some of the stuff that Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers do, and try to run an offense not entirely similar to that, but borrow some of those concepts more frequently.
So I guess my one, it's not really even a pushback. My one question is, did he try doing that, but then the injury sustained before the season started happened, or even during the season with Rashee Rice, and so things had to operate differently? Because all we heard, and it was a little different from what you're saying, but still, the offense was going to be more explosive. The offense was going to be different with Xavier, with Rashee Rice, with Hollywood Brown, and then Hollywood Brown got injured first play of the preseason. Rashee Rice got injured early in the season, so things had to shift then. I kind of wonder if Andy Reid understood that. He knew it had to change. He tried to, and then he had to revert back to what he knows best just because of the injuries.
Yeah, it's entirely possible as well, because if we go back to the first 3 weeks, not that the offense looked fantastic or anything like that, but it clearly was operating a little bit better. And then once you lose Rashee Rice, you lost probably your just overall best receiver. Unfortunately, Travis Kelce is getting up there in age. I don't know if it's too crazy to say that Rashee Rice might just be a better overall receiving player than he is right now, and he was kind of your best middle of the field receiver. He was the guy that if you could get him free into zone over the middle of the field, he was the guy they were kind of looking to target. And so once you lost him, that does probably change a little bit of what they're trying to do, and maybe that did push them into having to flood the sidelines with so many 3-by-1 formations, getting all 4 receivers with the running back included out into one side of the field. So, yeah, we might see something entirely different once we get to next year, and that could have been on the docket for what we were expecting before all the injuries piled up, because we didn't even see Hollywood Brown. Even going back a little bit to some of the early season stuff, it looked pretty similar, and it's what Andy Reid's done. It's West Coast principles. He's got so many things that are about flooding zones. They're constantly trying to work with the triangle of a defense and put 3 receivers into a triangle, because that's going to stress essentially any offense or defensive coverage, unless the defenses also flood those zones with extra bodies. And I think that's what teams did really good down the stretch last year. So we'll have to see if the talent increase of Rice and Hollywood Brown changes that, or if Andy has to go back, not to the drawing board, but maybe just borrow back a previous iteration of his own playbook from the early 2000s with the Eagles rather than what they've been using lately in KC.
Matt Lane is our guest right here on the Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. How excited should people be about that Xavier Worthy touchdown in the Super Bowl? Because I have seen some people talk about how, look, that's what the Chiefs can do if Mahomes just lets it fly, if he just trusts himself, if it's just in bleep it mode. I've also heard people say, it doesn't really matter at all. The Chiefs were down so much. It was against backups. Really, we shouldn't look into that at all. It won't matter come regular season next year. Where do you land? Because that play seemingly is a catalyst for what people are viewing the offense looking like in 2025.
Yeah, I think Worthy overall in the Super Bowl played a pretty solid game across the board. I think there was some plays early in the game where Mahomes just didn't quite have the time to try to hit him deep. There was another play where I think he just kind of pulled it down when he had a chance to give him a vertical opportunity against, I believe it was Quinyon Mitchell. So I think Worthy, even up until that final long touchdown play, had played a pretty good game, and there was nothing to scoff at. And then obviously you get some production there in the second half, and then you get the big long touchdown there. Which, yes, he was playing against backups, but you still it's the NFL. Backups are guys that play still plenty of snaps throughout the game. It's not like the safeties that were out there for the Eagles hadn't seen live action, in the playoffs even at that point in time. So they had played some. So I think you can still be excited. I think it's fair to say what you saw from Patrick Mahomes and Xavier Worthy towards the second half of that Super Bowl, where the game was obviously over. They kind of had to go for broke and just kind of say, F it, let's see what we can do here. And you just saw a confident throwing of the football. You saw confidence in a receiver to go make plays. And if that aspect carries over, then I think we're all feeling pretty good going into week one if Mahomes is going to have the confidence to throw those types of passes to Worthy downfield all season rather than waiting until that kind of situation of the Super Bowl.
Because when you look back, and you were tweeting about this and talking about this, Patrick has really struggled on the deep ball over the past couple of seasons, but particularly last year. And you said, he's not the maybe the main culprit, that it's a piece of the pie, right? And I know that video has been circulating all over Twitter as far as Patrick Mahomes throwing the deep ball, and especially the times when he has a clean pocket. But he wasn't accurate last year, even with a clean pocket. How does this get fixed?
We have to figure out what the root cause of it is, right? And we will obviously never know from the outside. So that's something for them or him to figure out with his own QB coach, or for the team to figure it out once he gets back into camp. Obviously, the way they talked leading into last year, they didn't anticipate that being something that they were going to deal with, because that was all anybody talked about was how, hey, we want to bring back the vertical passing game a little bit. But once the shots started firing in the actual regular season, he did seem just a little off. And whether this is just purely accuracy and he's not going to get it back, or to me, it just seems like a lack of not even confidence, but just consistency. Some throws, it feels like he's rushing his throwing motion because he thinks he's about to get hit. Other times it looks like he's thinking about it and he overstrides, and therefore he leaves the ball too long. He doesn't add enough touch. He doesn't seem like a quarterback that has a lot of confidence in his own deep ball throwing right now, and he's constantly adjusting how he's doing it, his stride length, the timing on it. He kind of wants to see a wide receiver get open before he trusts to throw it, and you just combine all these things, and you just get inconsistency left and right. And then you add in the rough pass protection, and I understand that the video going around is here's clean pockets, but what about the 3 plays prior to that? Has he just been hit two out of the last 3 plays, and now he doesn't want to be hit again? So there's a small cause for concern for me, but I do think it's mostly a confidence thing. He needs to probably see a couple, like a 3-point shooter in basketball. You got to see a couple go in. Even if they're layups, you want to see a couple go in. You want to see it work a little bit, and then you start feeling a lot better in your shot, and everything looks more consistent. I think we're just 2 years out from Mahomes looking confident in his vertical passing, and hopefully that comes back this year because I do think they have a couple receivers that can do that.
Naismith saw a lot go in last night as a good shooter.
Yeah.
He saw about 6 in a row in the last 5 minutes. I saw you also tweeting about that game last night. That was just absurd.
Oh, this is one of the craziest innings of a game ever. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a little bit different with basketball and football, right? But it's the same concept. You're having a difficult shot that you're trying to make, and you see a couple easy ones go in, and then all of a sudden the more difficult ones just become a lot easier, and you just start firing it, and you're no longer worried about the defense. You're no longer worried about exactly where your feet are. You're just kind of in the flow. And I think Mahomes right now, if you see him throw some balls downfield, and this happens a lot more on corner routes or deep crossing routes than it does the go route, if he's being pressured and having to move a little bit and he's just reacting to what's happening, so there's no thinking, he's just reacting, he still makes some pretty good throws downfield. There's still some phenomenal throws in that situation. It's more so when they're calling these designed deep shots where he's dropping back, whether off play action or not, and you almost can see him having to think about when he wants to throw it, where he wants to put it, and it's just like he's overthinking it because he's not just in the flow of making those passes right now. And I just think we've seen this for a couple of years now, so hopefully whatever it takes this offseason, hopefully whatever it takes for, in the early part of the year, we get Mahomes back to this Naismith level of confidence, and he's just firing them out there.
Yeah, that's what I want to. I just think sometimes he's now overthinking, and he's such a smart guy, obviously, but when you can overthink, you almost get in the headspace of a head prison right there where you're not trusting your instincts, and we can, I think, all agree that Patrick has the best instincts of anyone in the NFL. Matt Lane of KCSN is our guest. Any other main takeaways from that Super Bowl loss? Any other ones that really stood out to you?
And my last one, it stinks that these are all mostly negative, but when you get beat this badly in the Super Bowl, it was hard to come out with, overly positive takeaways from that game. But the last one, and this is defense, and this is not quite as bad as the others. It's just the Chiefs' defense is very good. I don't know, though, if the Chiefs can, rely on their defense to win multiple games throughout a playoff stretch versus good offenses, right? They can hold offenses in check for a little bit, but they're not a defense that creates a ton of turnovers. They're not a defense that forces a ton of 3-and-outs. They're more of, hey, we're not going to bend, or we're going to bend a little bit and try to force some field goals. We're going to bend a little bit and give you a little bit of a drive and force a punt. And I think good offenses, like the Eagles did eventually after multiple opportunities in that game, start to find some success wearing them down. So I don't think the goal for this defense moving forward, especially now with having to replace Justin Reed, we'll see what that, and the implication of that is that they can anticipate winning so many games by only scoring 20 points. They might have to return to putting up a few more points. It's not a knock on the defense. They just, I don't think, have enough playmakers outside of Chris Jones right now to feel overly confident in their ability to hold elite offenses to those lower scoring totals overall.
How do you think the edge group overall looks this year compared to a couple of the previous seasons? Obviously, Charles Omenihu should be healthy heading into this year. On the interior, you have Omar Norman-Lott. On the outside, they drafted Ashton Gelati. Obviously, you have Karlaftis, who's been just a consistent force on the outside. Where do you see this defensive line, I guess, as a whole looking compared to the previous few seasons?
Yeah, it's kind of the same. It's the same kind of unit they've run back, and there's a lot of the same players, but then it's some guys have been new, some guys are old, but even the types of new players that they've added are similar, right? They're going to be a very salty bunch. They're going to play physical versus the run. They're going to give you a lot of effort. They might not have anybody that tilts the scales everybody might kind of need a little bit of help in terms of getting them good matchups or getting them in situations where they're cleaning up quarterback pressures from Chris Jones or from Steve Spagnuolo's blitz packages and stuff. But overall, I think there's no drop-off. I just don't know if the defensive end room is poised to necessarily take a big step unless it is Charles Omenihu, who finally, hopefully, is going to have a full, off-season plus start of the year in Kansas City. The first year he was suspended to start the season. Last year he's rehabbing from injury. So, he's kind of the one guy that seems like a little bit of an unknown because we've seen him at his best if we want to go back 3 seasons to the San Francisco or even the playoff run before he got injured 2 seasons ago. He looks like a guy that has a little bit more juice. He can create some one-on-one on his own, and I think that's what they've been missing these past 2 seasons. And Frank Clark's not everybody's favorite defensive end of all time for the Chiefs, but if you go look in the playoffs, he could create on his own from time to time. I just think they've been missing that guy. So hopefully Omenihu provides that. If not, the defensive ends won't be a weakness. It'll just continue to be this is a very solid unit that complements Chris Jones and what Spags wants to do with everything else very well and makes them formidable just without ever really taking over games.
Matt Lane of KCSN is our guest. What are expectations for Kelce in 2025? I know he's talked about how he's lost 20, 25 pounds. He wants to get lighter. He understood that. The yak ability last year was drastic, and I said that just can't be because of age. I understand he is older, but I mean that wasn't just a cliff. That was a mountain that he fell off on the yak from 23 to 24. Where do you land on expectations for Travis in 25?
It's a difficult question to answer because it stings to want to say that I'm considering betting against Travis Kelce having not even a bounce back in production, but just a bounce back in the efficiency or the impact. It didn't feel like Travis Kelce's impact on the game last year was anywhere close to what it's been in the past. And I understand the overall production still was okay in terms of the grand scheme of all tight ends last year, but he just never felt like he was really taking over a game. It never felt like there was it's 3rd and 8 right now. Travis Kelce's going to be inevitable. He just kind of felt like he was out there going along with the rest of the offense, which was not super smooth, but doing just enough. And this year, we're another year past that. So we're about to find out, was it the 20 extra pounds or what is it the age? Have we kind of hit the cliff now to where he just can't do what he once did? And that's really unfortunate for the Chiefs, who built a lot of their offense around him essentially being uncoverable. You can't stop him for all these biggest moments, and it allowed them to piece together receiving attacks with MVS and Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney and go win Super Bowls with them because Travis Kelce was just so much better than any of his other players in the NFL. So now this year, I hope they dial back his usage. Let's let him rest a little bit more. He played a lot of snaps last year for a guy that did look a lot slower, and it looked like he maybe was not in the best shape of his life, whether that's age or conditioning related or whatever. He still played a ton of snaps. And at this point, let's find a way to get more Noah Gray. Let's see what of these other young tight ends they have can just eat some snaps so that when we do get Travis Kelce, we maybe can get a version of him that looks more like the Kelce against the 49ers in the Super Bowl, even if it's less often than what we got last year where he just never looked anywhere close to that kind of player.
Yeah, I think my reason for optimism is, again, I think the yak was the biggest issue, and if you lose weight, hopefully that brings back a little bit. Again, I don't think he's going to be this 6 yards after catch guy, but can he be a 4.5 or cresting the low fives? I think the answer could be yes. I also think last year he wasn't supposed to play that much or be that much of a focal point, but he almost had to be because of the injuries to Hollywood and Rashee Rice. You mentioned Rashee Rice has almost taken over that role to an extent as the de facto receiver one. I don't want to say wide receiver because Travis Kelce, tight end, all that stuff, but the main focal point of an offense. Well, when he got injured, that took a huge part away. Well, this year you have Worthy, who is now heading into his second year. Rice, hopefully healthy and maybe not suspended. Obviously, you have Hollywood Brown back and hopefully healthy. You drafted Jalen Royals. I don't know. I think this part and heading into this year, you'll see more one-on-ones. You'll see Kelce be less of the focus for a defense, which means maybe he can get a little open quicker, maybe less dialed in on the defense on him. So maybe I'm counting on a bounce back season for Travis Kelce. Maybe that makes me an idiot, but at least to me, I think that's a bet I'd be willing and a smart bet to take.
You're doesn't make sense. Like, we saw Rashee Rice's not best game, but against the Atlanta Falcons, he had 14 targets. He led the team, and that felt like the first game last year where the offense was kind of designed around getting him the majority of the looks rather than Travis Kelce. And not that he was, that Rice didn't have a good games against the Ravens and the Bengals before that, but it just felt like there was a shift in how the offense was being funneled kind of to him and not Travis Kelce. And I think that was probably going to be good for the long-term health of not just the Chiefs, but also as the year went on, that is going to take less pressure off of Kelce, both like from himself, but then defenses and focusing on him. So if we get that next year where Rice can be a focal point and Xavier Worthy, who came on strong as the year went on, can be a focal point, and now Travis Kelce is no longer getting double teamed or 1.5 because he's getting walled off by every safety is never going to let him out of their eyesight. Maybe now he can just operate in finding soft spots in zone. Maybe now he can get these pure one-on-one matchups with linebackers or something that he can take advantage of. So I definitely think we should hopefully see a bounce back in like the efficiency numbers overall. I don't know about the total production because, again, I think they should put him on a little bit more of a snap count. But if they just use him less frequently and allow him to be the third option or the second option rather than the first option all the time, that's probably the best outlook for him. And when defenses adapt to that, I think that's when you could see him come back to life a little bit.
Matt Lane of KCSN and KC Laboratory is our guest. Before I let you go, final question here. I asked Tysher this. I want to ask you this. One, I guess, who do you think starts at left tackle this year, Josh Simmons or Jalen Moore? And two, if it is Jalen Moore starting, one, how bad would he have to play to see Josh Simmons, or how good would he have to play to keep that left tackle job?
Okay, I'm going to answer him in reverse. Let's say Jalen Moore starts the season as the starting tackle. I don't think that there is a certain level of good that he would have to play to keep Josh Simmons from taking his job. I think as long as he's not playing poorly, Andy Reid and Andy Heck would say, let's keep the continuity, let's keep keep the veteran doing well enough to so the rookie doesn't have to step in. So I don't think there's a certain level that like they're going to be chasing for him to play to keep Josh Simmons at bay. I do think, though, if we start to see situations like we saw with Wanya Morris or situations like we saw with Kingsley last year where, hey, there's just a game where you're getting beat over and over again by the same couple moves and Patrick Holmes feels uncomfortable, I don't think they'll hesitate to make the switch. And I don't think they would hesitate to make the switch early again. Like last year, Kingsley left, week 2?
Yeah.
They took him out for a while, and it was kind of hard for him to find his footing after that point. Jalen Moore might get a longer leash if he starts the year, but I don't know if they hesitate, as long as Josh Simmons is healthy, to say, hey, okay, if you're struggling by week 3, 4 more, then we can go ahead and take you out and let Simmons give a go. And I'm going to say I think Jalen Moore starts the season week 1 at left tackle for the Chiefs, just because where I sit, I have no clue the health of Josh Simmons right now. I know they're saying he's doing good, he's ahead of schedule, but I'm side with safety right now, go with Jalen Moore, but I think by the end of the year, Josh Simmons does take over.
They call him Matt Safety Lane right there, huh? That's the middle name, Safety Lane. They don't want to drive too fast. He takes the safety lane. Matt Lane, you can follow him on the X at Matty_KCSN. Check out all of his great work at KC Sports Network as well as KC Laboratory. Matt, really appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, you as well. We'll take a break, come back to Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you again to Matt Lane of KCSN. Josh Kaiser joins us at noon talking some Royals. Bethany Bowman joins at 1 as we play a little bit of sports or leisure. She's taking the leisure side. I'll be taking the sports side. Dylan will be taking the phone line. We thought about having Dylan do it, but that was going to be a lot. That would have been a lot of Dylan on the phone.
One day I will attempt it, but
that day was not today.
no.
I asked if Dylan wanted to, and
It's
then
like going from the 13.1 to the full marathon.
yeah, it's
Like
like a 5K.
I can do a half marathon, but I can't do the full thing.
That last 13.1 miles really gets you. The 5K gets me, Dylan. If I'm being honest with you, the first mile.
You're there for a cause. You're there to support someone. Some people are there to compete, and they usually let those folks go first.
I'm there for a cause. It's
Exactly.
because I need to get in shape. That's the cause.
Secondary cause for sure.
Yeah, my fat ass needs to get in shape. Kelsey, come get me. Help me lose 20 pounds. That's what I need, Dylan. All right. PFF came out with their 30 players over 30 entering the 2025 season, all right? Top 30 players over the age of 30 into the 2025 season. Dylan, you want to take a guess at which Chiefs are on this list? I know it's a little hard off the top of your head.
Well, I feel like you want to say Travis Kelce, but he's
on this list. Where do you think he comes
Okay.
in? 30 players.
I would say 10 to 15 or 5 to 15.
27th.
Oh.
27th, ahead of Stephon Diggs, Demario Davis, and Matthew Stafford.
That would be an accurate ranking. I honestly was guessing that they just saw name and then kind of, ignored some of the numbers because of the name. But I also don't think that's PFF's brand.
He is 27th. He's behind Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Jake Matthews, DeForest Buckner, Garrett Bowles, Leonard Williams, Kevin Zeitler. He's down there. 27th, 30 over 30.
Those are good players.
Still
that
top
you're
30.
naming.
Devontae Adams, Larry Tunsil, James Conner. One more Chief on this list. Chris Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Jones. Where do you think Chris Jones comes in on this list?
He would have to be in the 15 range, right? Like the low teens? Like
Fourth. I don't know where you're coming from, man.
Oh,
Fourth.
good.
Chris Jones, fourth.
Well, I was going off what you put Kelce at. So I was like, okay, well, I guess they maybe knocked him.
Fair, I guess. But, yeah, Chris Jones, fourth. Derrick Henry is one.
Okay.
A little surprising.
Yeah, who's two?
TJ Watt.
That's absurd.
Why?
Who would you rather have?
TJ Watt.
Okay.
I don't think he's even close. Third is George Kittle, which I found, again, a little surprising.
That's
George
surprising.
PFF loves George Kittle.
But he's a good player.
Very good
and
player,
they love
but
the blocking stats for sure.
They love George Kittle. And George Kittle last year had one of his best years. 15 games, 1,100 yards, 14.2 yards per reception, 8 touchdowns. Kittle was great last year. As much as I want to rip on Kittle because it's not even his fault. It's because of the media's fault. He was great last year. But I thought third was a little high. Who would you rather have, Kittle or Jones? I'm going Jones, not even a question. Chris Jones comes in at 4. What they wrote about Chris Jones coming in at 4 on the top 30 players over 30, according to PFF, quote, Jones continued to anchor Kansas City's pass rush in 2024, finishing second among qualified interior defenders with a 91.5 pass rush grade. It marked the 6th time in 7 seasons he's earned a grade above 90 in that category. That's absurd. He also led all interior defenders with an impressive 18.8% pass rush win rate. So while sacks might not have been as high for Chris Jones last year, the underlying metrics, take a drink, and the efficient and effective numbers were great. The pass rush win rate, elite, highest among all interior defenders, 18.8%, 91.5 pass rush grade. That is pretty incredible. Basically 1/5 of the time, he's beating his guy and at least getting pressure on the QB. That's nuts. Chris Jones, 4th on that list. 5th, Lane Johnson. 6th, Trent Williams. 7th, Cameron Hayward. 8th, Khalil Mack. 9, Trey Hendrickson. No idea who he's going to play for. And then 10, Mike Evans. Former Chiefs, Joe Thuney coming in at 11. Tyreek Hill coming in at 13. Just thought this list was interesting. Kelsey coming in at 27. I mean, really getting hit hard according to PFF. And then Chris Jones coming in at 4. Thought that was fun.
That's why I was confused. More thinking Chris Jones would have been higher, but yeah, that makes sense. Who was? I'm sorry. 5? Did you do 5 through 10?
Yeah, I did. Gosh, I could go back. You kidding me?
No, I'll find it.
Are you kidding me,
I got
Dylan?
it right here.
No, it's right here. I'll pull it back up. Lane Johnson, Trent Williams, Cameron Hayward, Khalil Mack, Trey Hendrickson, Mike Evans. All phenomenal players.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson, we don't know who he's going to play for, but sack leader last year. Khalil Mack, still great. Cam Hayward had one of the best years of all time last year.
Oh, yeah.
Best all-time years for him,
right.
I should say, last year. Cam Hayward was ridiculous as he enters his age 36 season.
He's like their Chris Jones.
Yes, and he's going to be 36 this year.
Yeah.
Nuts. And then Lane and Trent, obviously. I want to ask you the same question I asked Matt Lane. Does Kelsey take a step forward stat-wise, not even necessarily because of health, because of the weight loss, because now he's not the focal point of the offense? Because now you have Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown. Now, again, we thought that last year.
I know. He said, Matt also said, like, hey, we're not going to have Wanya with a knee issue. We don't know
we
that.
Don't know that.
Nobody knows any of that. We thought that we had Worthy Brown Rice. Remember we were saying that was the funny little name, and we're going to have these guys all year, and we barely had them together
Rice
for
is
one
worthy
game. Yeah.
of being 8.
Can't assume health.
It's a Royal Brown Rice. That's Worthy.
It could be Royals Worthy Brown Rice.
We can workshop this. I like this.
Worthy would be the adjective.
Would be the adjective.
Right.
Yeah, it's worthy.
It would be the smaller. Unfortunately, I'm not trying to minimize anyone's part in this business venture, but
only get like 10%.
If we're breaking down what the logo is going to look like, you're going to have the Worthy as the little lettering.
The little lettering, right?
Exactly.
And then the Royals might actually have to be big, because that might be the brand.
That's yeah.
Royals Worthy Brown Rice.
Yep.
$3.99 a bag. I don't know how much rice costs. I don't really buy rice.
Pretty cheap.
Is that good? Is that a big bag?
See, I don't buy bags of it. Typically they come in a box.
How much could a banana cost, Michael? $10? But back to my question. Travis Kelce. Maybe I'm dumb. I guess it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. But I'm buying Travis Kelce with a bounce back year. I'm buying that Rice, Brown, Worthy stay mostly healthy and all the way effective. I'm buying that. So, yes, I think Travis Kelce plays fewer snaps this year. But I buy the effectiveness being higher. Are you on the same wavelength?
Yeah, I am. I think you're right. Like, if we had to assume, which we shouldn't, but if we assume that everyone is healthy and there's multiple options, he shouldn't have as much of the weight to carry every game.
Yeah.
Even though he said to put it all on him, so that weight.
Yeah, I just, again, I'm buying, again, not just the weight loss, but the overall game plan of what Kansas City is going to have this year. And I do think that when we look back, I know I've said this a couple times now, but I think it's really true. When we look back on last year, we're going to look back and time's going to do it justice. Time's going to do justice for the fact they went 15-1, 15-2, made it back to a Super Bowl for the 3rd straight year.
They're the only team in history to go to the Super Bowl with a chance to three-peat.
But when you look back on it, I think it was actually one of, I know in the moment it's tough, and we criticize Andy Reid and all that stuff, but when you look back, the amount of injuries that were sustained and the amount of on-the-fly adjustments that had to be made when you thought that Rice and Hollywood were going to be your top 2 guys, and they go out by, week 3, for Rice, and Hollywood Brown didn't play a single snap in the regular season until week 16. You're just sitting.
I've said it before.
Week 17, game 16.
It's our 07 undefeated loss. It's if you're paralleling the Chiefs and Patriots dynasty, no one remembers that that's one of the greatest football teams that's ever been assembled because they lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. No team had ever been 16-0. No team had ever been to that point undefeated, and they lost in one of the biggest upsets in the history of football. And no one remembers what a great team that was because of it, and rightfully so. That's the victors write everything at the end, and they take the spoils. But it's like great team and a great coaching job by Andy Reid to get that team to the Super Bowl with all the injuries, all the sky is falling all year. They're not scoring enough, this and that usually happens with the Chiefs, and then we end up in the Super Bowl and we either win or lose that game. And more times we've won it.
It is funny how success breeds disappointment. Because imagine if the previous 7 years hadn't happened and this season was the 2013 or 14 season. My goodness, what a year for KC. Last year was a disappointment. That's why I think time will do it justice and do it well. It's like the Royals right now. 5 years ago, what we would not have given to be 28-23. For the Royals to be 28-23. And now coming off of a playoff appearance and going all the way to facing the Yankees in the ALDS, 28-23 seems below what the Royals should be doing. We'll talk about that and a lot more. Josh Kaiser, again, coming up at noon. We're going to talk some Royals with him. Bethany Bowman joins at 1 to play sports or leisure. We'll take a break, come back to Zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Josh Kaiser coming up next, talking some Royals with him. In the break, just wanted to pull up some numbers. I was going to say fun with numbers, but they're not really fun. The Royals have 41 stolen bases this year. That's 14th in Major League Baseball. 41 stolen bases as a team. Do you know where they rank in caught stealing this year, Dylan?
No.
First. It's not good. First is the worst in this situation. At least they're first. 18 stolen bases. They are 41 of 59. 69%. I like being aggressive, but man,
It's a nice number.
maybe a little less aggressive.
explosion.
I mean, what else do you call that? But that's an explosion right there.
For this offense, that is nuclear. Yeah, that's a big-time explosion. Yep.
So I actually want to start here. I saw you were tweeting about the individual grades that we were giving out. Would love to give your thoughts on the grades that we gave out because we're teachers, obviously. But I went to break talking about how the Royals' offense has not been good enough, and yet the base running has been worse. They are 41 stolen bases, which is 14th in Major League Baseball. They've been caught stealing 18 times, which is the most in baseball, so they're first in something. That breaks down to a 69% success rate. I know the Royals want to be aggressive. I get that they like pushing the envelope, but at some point when they're being this ineffective, don't they need to dial it back a bit?
Personally, I am still into the aggressive base running camp. With the offense being as bad as they are, I understand the argument of like trying to be conservative with the base runners that you do get. But lately, the base runners getting on is not the problem. It's the runners in scoring position. And I think when that happens, I just want to keep throwing stuff at the wall. I want to see more pickles thrown at the restaurant glass like Billy Madison just to see how many guys we can get in. So I'm not necessarily wanting them to take the foot off the gas a little bit. I am a little concerned as to why they are getting caught so much and why Bobby Witt Jr. seems to be a photo finish every time he steals second for whatever reason. I'm more interested in the why of why that's happening more so than them wanting them to take the foot off the gas.
Why is that with Bobby? And by the way, Mike Kell, we talked about it a lot last year. He just had a knack for stealing bases, even with his he's not the fastest guy. I mean, I'm not saying Mike Kell Garcia is slow, but when you look at the sprint speed, all that stuff, he is above average, but nothing crazy. But he was so efficient last year. That's not been the case this year. But Bobby Witt Jr., fastest guy in Major League Baseball, yet you're right, seemingly even when he does steal a base, it's almost always a review. It's almost always close. Is it his break? Is it his acceleration? Is he not getting a good read? Is it the fact that he seemingly does not take a large lead, that he's almost right on the bag every single time? I'm just perplexed by this.
Yeah, 100%. I think he's talked about a little bit there at the beginning of the season how he kind of got bad reads and that kind of hit his confidence a little bit. So part of me thinks that is still the case, and it's only going to improve, hopefully, in theory, that it's going to improve with more experience and more time. But at the same time, like, he's not getting any younger. Like, his body is going to eventually slow down. He's just going to become really fast instead of elite. So he's always going to have that, in his bag until he's 35 or so. But it is a weird thing. I think it is a thing that can be a confidence thing. I think that was part of the reason why, like, Gerard Dyson had so much success back in the day. He was super confident, and I loved it. But I think that is especially a bigger part in that game, to be able to be confident that you're going to rip the bag off of no matter what. So I think that, what Bobby has said prior to the season starting is still potentially true and potentially a cause of it, and hopefully it just kind of gets better as he sees more pitchers' moves and stuff.
Josh Kaiser is our guest. Last night, two guys really stepped up that needed to. Salvador Perez and Michael Massey, both mired in slumps. Salvi, obviously, as Rex Hudler talked about on the broadcast, that little single to the right field. I know it was a slider low and away. I thought it wasn't a full count, so I actually didn't mind it that much, him not taking that pitch, but put a good swing on it, stayed down on it, didn't roll over, didn't strike out, but hit a nice single the opposite way, and that culminated in a home run to right center later on in the game. Let's start there with Salvador Perez. Is that the start of a breakout, or is that just too small of a sample size to really glean anything from?
Yeah, I've played this game before, and it's always the optimistic side that I have taken, and I have been wrong 98% of the time. So I'm going back to I'm going to believe it more when I see it again and again and again. I'm not good at predicting stuff on that front, like Lefevre or Denny Matthews or any of these guys that see these guys every day. So I'm not necessarily ready to say that he's turned the corner, but it is still very good to see. Salvi's just been really, really bad, and it's been dragging this offense down. He's had help, obviously, but a four-hitter that you came in the year expecting big things from, especially in the power department, is just not happening. So that's a big reason why this offense has taken a big hit. But I want it to be the case, but with Salvi, you just never know.
Yeah, I'm going to buy in because I'm an idiot and I want to get hurt again. I did this last time. I bought in, and he went on that double streak, and then it dried up. But I'm ready to believe in Salvi's hot stretch coming along. I do think him hitting a home run to right center, there's something in there that I think can be really positive. The other one is Michael Massey. I spent a large part of the show yesterday ripping on Michael Massey. Not out of a place because I wanted to, but because of a place where I feel like he's almost been skating by under the radar of how bad he has been. We've talked about how there's some guys in the minors who've really been thriving, especially on the middle infield, including Cam Devaney. Cam Devaney, of course, also hit another home run, I believe, yesterday. He's been on an absolute heater. But Michael Massey went 3 for 5 last night. Takeaway of Michael Massey's night, and again, I know small sample size, but what have you seen from him so far this season? Does he need to go to AAA and get it figured out? Is Cam Devaney the guy you would tab? Where are you rolling with this entire situation?
It's kind of hard, and the Jonathan India part of this is kind of the X factor in here. They seem to be really wanting to get him more run at second base, which then displaces Mike Massey a little bit more, unless he's going to be the guy going out to left field or whatever. The Michael Massey thing in particular, like he is kind of an elite zone. He can always make good zone contact, but he always has been very aggressive and chases quite a bit. And that was not his MO coming up. He was kind of a guy that saw pitches and was able to, have good discipline, and that's not necessarily been the case since he came up. So it does seem like a guy that does like to be aggressive and does like to put the ball into play as much as possible. And there is something to be said about that. But when you also or you can't hit the ball, the whiff rate is, in a bad spot. It just can't happen and also chase. So that's kind of the story of Michael Massey, and his floor has always been, well, he's a good defender. And this year he's right at average, if not, depending on what metric you're using, slightly below average. And that, if that's your floor and you're not meeting your floor, then something's up. Maybe I was talking to my brother today, shout out Brian. I don't know what's best for him long-term developmentally. If the Royals still see him as a long-term part of this organization, does it behoove them to keep him up to get annihilated by pitchers at the major league level, or is it better to send him to Omaha to get the confidence up and see where that gets you? I'm more in the camp of sending him down to Omaha, but that's more specifically to the point where Cam Devaney is hitting pretty well. Nick Lofton has been getting on base still. So, and I'm going to say it, Nelson Velasquez has been hot in the month of May. And I always love a good right-handed power bat, especially with Salvi not performing like he should be. So this is a case where there's nobody in Omaha to come help. There are multiple guys in here that could be options that you can move India around if you so choose. But it just doesn't seem like that's what the organization is telling us at this point with how they're using India. So at this point, I think they're still going to be trotting Massey out there to try to get right.
Josh Kaiser is our guest. At what point, or if at all, do we see a call-up? I know Jack Caglione, we're probably all tabbing about a month away. I think June 24th has been the date that has been circled by a lot of people, including Jason. He's talked about that a lot. But as far as the Cam Devaneys, the John Raves, if it is Nick Lofton, again, I don't know if you know my thoughts on Nick Lofton. I think he's just a quad-A guy. We've seen him in the majors enough to where I go, yeah, it actually can get worse. That was worse than MJ Melendez when he was called up. I was out on that, so I'm sorry, but that was so bad that I'm like, I'm out. Velasquez, as you mentioned, but again, for me, I think it's more of a Cam Devaney rave type situation early on as far as the next guys in line. Do we see either of those guys get called up, or do you think that no, it'll probably be Caglione as the next guy up at some point, about a month away, barring, of course, an injury?
The interesting thing about this is they're not trying to circle those guys into the fold, into positions that they're not already covered at. Nick Lofton's been playing nothing but third base pretty much. Are you going to move Michael Garcia off of that? Probably not. He's very, elite defender over there at third base and has been far from the problem on offense, and in fact one of the, best stories of the offense this year. So unless you got a plan to keep, Nick Lofton off of third and move him to second or something, that would be the only thing. Or if you're wanting to push India to DH, I mean, maybe that's the move, and that can happen too. But Nick Lofton's utility infielder part, he doesn't play much outfield, and that's kind of working against him in that field, which is the same for Cam Devaney. Cam Devaney's been playing nothing but shortstop, and we know that he's not displacing Bobby Witt Jr. So that's kind of my concern, or I guess the problem with just calling those guys up, even though they are banging the door down. They do have options on that front, but if you're not comfortable with India in left field, that becomes a problem. So that might come with a corresponding move like John Rave, and that would probably be. It would also require like a Massey option or Hunter Renfroe or a Kevin Biggio DFA to make room for those guys, which is something you could talk about. So there are options there, but you got to. It's almost like one of those things where if you do one, you got to do another corresponding thing to kind of answer and plug some holes in the lineup that maintains the balance of left-righty matchups.
Yeah, I guess for me it just comes down to how bad does it have to get for a Biggio, a Renfroe, or a Massey before it happens, because I don't know how much. I mean, again, I get Biggio can play multiple positions. He made a great catch in left field. I get that. I know that Renfroe, you have to eat a lot of money, and anytime he hits a ball semi-hard, you have to talk yourself into, well, is he turning this thing around? Michael Massey, you have to talk about, of course. Well, it's Michael Massey. He had a 743 OPS last year. He was supposed to be the 5-6 hitter on this team. Is he ever going to turn it around? So I guess for me, it comes down to how bad does it actually have to get before the Royals make a move. I understand it's not hard. I understand it is hard, and it's not as simple as just send him down. I get that. I understand that. But at some point, when people talk about, if you call him up, are they gonna hit? I go, well, right. I know who's not hitting right now. Kevin Biggio, Renfroe, and Massey. And that's it. Like, I know what we're seeing. I understand that if you call them up, they might not be great. But I'm not asking for great. We're asking for average. We're asking for slightly below average. I mean, Drew Waters got called up. He's been basically league average, and it's felt like a revelation from him over MJ Melendez.
Yep, and that's also an interesting point because they pulled that hook on MJ relatively early. And you've got those three guys that are hitting pretty close to what, not nearly as bad, but not far from what MJ Melendez was doing at the time. Now, it was pretty public, and a lot of people could notice that there were swing complications. He overhauled it there in the off season, and there were some mixed results in spring training, and he was trying to get right. So they probably took that demotion to Omaha to go down, get that swing completely right, figure that out, and then we'll look for you later in the year if you're, deserving of it. Where these other guys are not necessarily going through as a public of an overhaul. You're not asking Hunter Renfroe to make a bunch of changes in this late in his career. Maybe Massey's working through some things that, not necessarily going to be helpful to work on him in Omaha in this situation. So it is kind of interesting to kind of compare those two the situations, and why they're not pulling the hook. And at that point, I don't know what the right answer is because they've all three been given plenty of reason why they don't need to be on this roster right now.
Josh Kaiser is our guest. How impressive was last night's win? Obviously taking the series against San Fran, going to 2-1. I know it felt after the day before, it felt like the sky was falling because of how bad the offense has perpetually been. The base running guffaws on the, obviously. But they go to a team into San Fran who now sits at 29-21. They faced Logan Webb, score 6 runs off of him. Even after that, Logan Webb's ERA is still 2.67, and they take the series 2-1. I guess maybe we're not giving the Royals enough credit. We keep focusing on the negatives, but some of the positives that are there, that is pretty damn impressive. And, oh, by the way, that was a bullpen start for KC. I was
going to bring that up. Yep. That is it. Like, you guys mentioned this in the first hour, that it just does seem like it's the all-star or the cream of the crop pitchers that the Royals seem to do well against. And that seems to be the MO for the last, decade seemingly. So, and Dylan made the point, like, those are the guys you're going to see in the postseason. True. 100% in on that. That's absolutely true. But at the same time, you can't get beat by those other quad A pitchers. It just can't happen. You got to be able to take advantage of those and make it work. So to see them do that against Logan Webb is fun, but it is just a one game thing, and they're still only scoring like 2 or 3 runs a game most of the time, and that just can't happen. I was looking at it the other day, and if they were just league average, 4.3 runs scored per game, they would have a 38-13 record right now, which is a pace for 120 wins or something crazy like that. So they were leaving so much bone or so much meat on the bone here. It's incredibly frustrating that it just can't just be an average offense, and that would solve so many problems. They would be in such good shape right now, going into June. We're not talking about how bad the offense is. So they got plenty of time, plenty of season to kind of right the ship there on that offensive side, and hopefully that yesterday's win was a an indicator of that. But we've also seen that Baltimore game where we said the same thing, and we just kind of bottom a week, and then we're right back to scoring 3 runs a game. So we'll have to see more of it.
I was impressed with the bullpen pieces, as tough as it was for a lot of them, including Lynch and Bolin and Steven Cruz. Mm-hmm. I liked them battling it out. Like, I almost took it as, I know it's easy to say now because the Royals won, but I took it almost as a positive. With Daniel Lynch not having his stuff, walking 3 guys, and then Bolin coming in and have to finish off the second inning. Obviously, give up a run, but then he was able to battle back in the third. Steven Cruz walking guys, giving up a couple of hits, not having his best stuff, throwing 41 pitches in 2 innings. Yet they were still able to battle and not give up anything massive. I actually took something away from that of, okay, so these are the guys not having their stuff. They're not the Ursegs, Estevez's, Hunter Harvey's when he's healthy, and yet they still were able to grind it out. That, to me, was actually pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, and I think potentially most encouraging to me was Steven Cruz. Like you said, he was having command issues in that first inning, walking dudes, giving up hard contact as a hard thrower that he is. And then I was like, okay, he got through that inning, just get him out, let him have his day, let's bring in the next guy. He came out and the next inning and answered the bell, responded with I believe it was a 1-2-3 inning, but it was, if it wasn't 1-2-3, it was stress-free. So him being able to respond that way is not only huge for, public perception, but I'm guaranteeing you that is great for his confidence, that he knew that he was having command issues. He's worked through it, and that is a step in the right direction, both as a coaching staff and as a player progressing in his career. So I was largely, way impressed with how he responded to this tough, that tough first inning. But being able to, that's a decent offense in San Francisco, and that ball was flying out, and they were talking about on the broadcast, especially during the day, and you're still able to kind of keep them within, arm's reach of a bad offense that rang the bell or responded to the bell as well that day. But you know what I mean? Like, you don't have confidence that that's happening. So you go into that day thinking it's a bullpen game like the rest of us, and you don't know how your confidence is and everybody else around you. So it was good to see them all kind of show up at the ballpark and play ball without those starting rotation kind of bailing them out.
Taylor Clark, what do you make of him coming back? He has been a guy who has bounced around a good amount. What's funny is he was part of originally what got Cam Devaney to Kansas City. He was traded to the Brewers for Cam Devaney, another minor leaguer, and then he was brought back. He's bounced around a lot in his career, never necessarily been great, but he's been really good this year, still has yet to give up a earned run. What do you make of Taylor Clark and where he fits in, maybe not long-term, but at least in this year's plan?
I think it's more of an indicator of what this new pitching staff, the coaching staff specifically, is able to do with guys. He's able to tweak a little bit of thing and turn his slider that was pretty good into an absolute weapon to be used that's getting a whiff rate that's crazy. That is kind of an indicator of those, and that is a sustainable model of a pitching factory, which is what John Sherman has spoken about, which all the GMs, JJ has been speaking about, all the coaches want to turn in. They want to turn into a pitching factory to print money, to be able to cover up and buy the things that they're missing, but also to be able to bring up a Noah Cameron, to bring up a Taylor Clark or a Jonathan Bolin or a Daniel Lynch, or turn all those guys into weapons to be able to major league contribute to the major league roster and make that sustainable. So as much as I love Taylor Clark and what he's doing, he's obviously working hard and, doing the right things, but I think it's a testament to this coaching staff and what they're able to do right now.
So this is, again, very small sample size. Take a drink. It's only been 7 1/3 innings for Taylor Clark this year. He's been very, very good, yet to give up a walk. And if you want to look at 2022, maybe his other best season, because he was really bad in 23, missed 24, did not play. He didn't walk a lot of guys. In 2022, 3.9% walk rate, right? 97th percentile. 23, 9% walk rate. And there's a blatant thing that stands out to me when I look at his Baseball Savant page. His arm angle in 22 was 46 degrees. 23, it was 53. That is 7 degrees is a massive change. So he had struggled finding the strike zone as well. What he's done this year is change his arm angle back to 43 degrees, even lower than it was in 22, and that's helped him find the strike zone more. I don't know if that's Clark. I don't know if it's natural. I don't know if it's the Royals organization, but somewhere they figured something out, and that's been a huge shift for him. So I do want to agree with you. I think that's something that the Royals found and said, hey, if you drop your arm angle just a little bit, you drop that thing down, you might have more control. Again, got to give a lot of credit to the Royals pitching staff for figuring that out. And again, you're probably right. That's probably what's giving more and more break on that slider. Josh Kaiser is our guest. Let's talk about the grades. I know you said you were listening to the first hour. What did you think of Dylan and myself, our grades, if we were a teacher?
Well, I'm going to give you both A pluses because I agree. You're right on. We were in lockstep on pretty much all of our individual grades between you and I. And Dylan also gets an A+ because of his leniency, is very supportive and bringing up good vibes around the Royals, and I'm always in favor of that. So A+ is all around.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You were just an absolute sweetheart. Let's start with overall grades here, Josh. Let's start with Quatraro, with Q. How do you think he's fared so far this year? Because it feels like some of the public perception has been pretty darn harsh. I know my thoughts on Q. I think he's done a really good job. I don't think he's been phenomenal. I think he's had a couple of decisions that I would not have done. Maybe at times he gets too much enamored with the lefty-righty or some of the underlying numbers instead of guys who are currently doing something well. But I think overall Q has gone away from Angel Zerpa in certain moments. He's gone away from guys who have shown him a reason to go away from him. I think at times it's like, what more do you want him to do? It's not his fault that he has Biggio and Renfroe on this roster. If they're on the roster at times, you're going to have to play these guys. It's not his fault that the offense has struggled as much as it has. End of the day, they still are sitting there at 28 and 23. How do you think Q has fared so far?
Yeah, it's tough to grade a manager's job from the outside in because he has so much more information to him, not only like through nerd spreadsheets and stuff like that. Take a drink on that, I'm sure. But also like how guys are feeling and their body language in the clubhouse and what they got going on, that nobody else knows about. They have so much more information about what's going on, their mental states, than any of us. So it's kind of hard to be able to look beyond those matchups and be like, he should have done this, he should have done that. It's super easy for us, and we don't have all the information, which absolutely complicates the equation quite a bit. But that being said, I was kind of in the same boat. My biggest gripe with them is how many times there at the beginning of the season where they would be in like 7th inning, 6th inning, and they might be down like 2 to 3 runs, and they bring in like Sam Long or Chris Stratton. I'm guessing hoping to get them right and give them more opportunities to prove that they either got it or they don't, or they're hurt in Sam Long's situation. And then they kind of gets out of hand. I mean, those games, not that this offense should be trusted in hindsight, but at the same time, like those are still within reach. And then you bring in those guys and it's no longer in reach. That might be my biggest gripe and really the only gripe I have against Q on the season. Like you said, you can't, it's not his fault that Salvi's slumping. He's got to put these guys in a lot of the cases like Salvi, you're going to put Salvi in that lineup regardless. Like that's an easy, that's getting slotted in. Bobby's in, Vinny's in. The rest of them are kind of like interchangeable a little bit, and you're kind of, some of those are pawns and not necessarily moving a lot on the chessboard. So. Yeah. I don't have that many gripes with what he's done with the lineup or anything. He's playing everybody he can, and you can only do so much as a manager on that front. So I'd give Q probably a B+.
Yeah, I'm not trying to carry water for Q necessarily because I feel like I can be very harsh overall. But when it comes down to it, early on in the season too, I get it. Every game's worth the same amount, and I was irritated with some of the decisions early on. Don't get me wrong, but I understand the thought process at least of, well, once he proves to me he doesn't have it, I'm not going to him again, because he did that with Zerpa. Zerpa was good last year, and so he kept trying to go to him, and he kept getting shelled, and eventually goes, yeah, you're no longer in the circle of trust. I don't care about last year. Kind of the same thing just with all these guys. He gives them a chance to prove him wrong. Once you show him that you don't have it, he's done going to you, and I can respect that. I understand, especially early in the year. He did it last year with Will Smith. That's a pretty early pull on a veteran who had won multiple World Series, who was a closer for the Rangers on their World Series team, right? And he said, yeah, he doesn't have it. I'm done. I'm going to MacArthur. And then once he proved that MacArthur didn't have it, he went somewhere else. Like, I can at least respect that. So, yeah, I think overall Q has done a fairly fine job. I think B+ is right in line with what I would give him. Who's been the biggest positive surprise for you, position player-wise? Not named Michael Garcia, because obviously Michael Garcia is the obvious answer. But who's been the biggest surprise for you in a positive manner offensively for you?
I mean, the only other answer is Kyle Isbell, because he's the only one hitting above 240 beyond that. I mean, Mark Canna is, but, I mean, he is what he is type of thing. But, I mean, Kyle Isbell being that, like you said, the second leadoff hitter there in the 9th spot, turning in a 275 or something right now. You're getting that production with the assumed, and he made a great catch yesterday, sliding catch that saved, Steven Cruz. If you're getting the 275 batting average from Kyle Isbell in the 9th spot, like, that is beyond what anybody kind of expected from him. I think everybody probably collectively thought he'd be in like the 240, 245 range. So he is far exceeding any expectations at the plate. And if you're not going Michael Garcia and what he's doing, then it's got to be Kyle Isbell.
Yeah, Kyle Isbell is the answer I would go with. But I think you can also make a case for Drew Waters.
Sure.
Drew Waters, 726 OPS. Again, he actually only has 5 fewer at-bats than Kyle Isbell. I know it's 10. Actually, it's 10 difference in games. Kyle Isbell's played in 45 games. Waters in 35. Only a 5 at-bat differential, which I thought was pretty wild. But still, the OPSs are very, very similar for both. But yeah, I think Kyle Isbell's the answer. If he could just walk. And I don't want to get too picky because it's your number 9 hitter who plays really good defense, who's batting 286, slugging 445, the third highest slug on the Royals. But he's batting 286, on base 290. He's taken 2 walks all season long. I think my favorite stat I have is Luke Maile has as many walks as Kyle Isbell and more home runs than Hunter Renfroe.
Yep, those are good.
And, in 8 at-bats, Luke Maile has as many walks as Kyle Isbell and more home runs than Hunter Renfroe. I don't know why I just find that so hysterical to me. It's just, of course, that's just a baseball number. But if Kyle Isbell could ever learn to walk, this year would be insane for Kyle. Either way, don't want to complain because he's been really, really good. Who's been the biggest issue offensively? If you can only pick one, I know there's a lot of guys to choose from, but if you can pick one guy who's been the catalyst for maybe the offensive struggles so far, who you tabbing?
I mean, it's with a bullet, Salvador Perez. And it sucks to say because he's El Capitan. He has proven literally everybody wrong except for Facebook commenters that have been defending him and will die on the hill. Shout out to you all. But everybody has written him off like, oh, he's 34. He's finally hitting the age curve. Nope. Oh, he didn't have ice. He had to have eye surgery. He's done. Nope. He had Tommy John surgery. There's no way he's firing. Nope. He's back. So there's just been so many times where he's counted us wrong. And this is what I was kind of, anxious about him saying, like, he's turned a corner and everything's going to be fine now. I just want to keep writing him off so he keeps proving me wrong. That's just kind of where I am with Salvador Perez. But you got him at the 4 spot, and I know, like, Dylan made the case like he's your catcher. You're not expecting that. And you made the point, like, yes, he is. You are absolutely counting on that from Salvador Perez. And he's not going to give you good plate appearances. He's not going to give you high batting average. If he's not hitting the ball hard, then he is still whiffing at everything. He is still grounding in the double plays. He just doesn't do anything for you on offense, and you're getting that at the 4 hole. And that just can't happen. So it is him, in my opinion, is the biggest detriment to the offense, which is a surprise considering, I was kind of counting on it. So was the front office. So was every Royals fan. So that's the biggest disappointment so far. And it is tough to kind of see that 36-year-old, 35-year-old guy that has been with the organization. He's been propped. He's up on a pedestal to every Royals fan out there. Kind of see that age curve kind of potentially, finding him. Finally, he's found the fountain youth, and maybe that's worn off, but maybe we see better. But it is tough to see that now. But hopefully he gets going, and we're talking about this as over.
Kaiser, final question for you here. Royals have an off day today. They play at Minnesota against the Twins tomorrow night. Noah Cameron has been ridiculous, .71 ERA. We've talked about the historic numbers he's put up in his first 2 career starts. I'm not saying he has to do exactly what he's done in the first 2 starts, but let's just say he goes out. Let's say it's six innings. Let's say it's maybe just, 1 run again. Okay, 6 innings, 1 run. let's say Lugo and Reagans both get healthy. What do the Royals do?
Well, it's a good question. I think you got to go back. You've already used his option, so it can't be, it's already spent. It's not going to hurt you to send him back down. I think you've got to bring back the original 5 as long as everybody is healthy and good to go. I wouldn't necessarily hate to see a Reagan's rehab start or two. Maybe that buys Noah Cameron a couple more starts, but I know there's probably not going to be a popular opinion, but I think you got to go back to the original 5 and know that you got a 6 that's ready to go whenever you need them. So I think that's the recipe at this point, and that's what they've done in the past. So that's what I would go with again.
All right, I have different thoughts, but I will give those on the other side of the break. Josh Kaiser, make sure you follow him. That's a teaser. I love teasing. Josh, I'm a big tease. Okay, that's why I do this shirt shirtless. I go tarps off because I'm a big tease.
Oh man,
that exact reason. Yeah. Quarter zips, no undershirt typically. I'm wearing one today, honestly.
I just broke the F8 button, Josh, unfortunately.
What, too many marks?
Too many marks.
What? What's wrong with
I love how also I'll give my opinion to Josh's take after he can't respond.
Wow, I know. That's the point. But you wanted us to take a break, Dylan.
Journalism move there.
I'm trying to be a guy who keeps us on track, Dylan. I've already gone long. I've yapped long enough. You are going to come down, break down this door, and break yourself if I don't do this. So what am I going to do? I'm going to break. Josh Kaiser, make sure you follow him on the X at JoshKaiser40. Josh, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, boys. Love you.
Wow, love. I love you,
He's
too.
the man.
Wow, I love you, too, Josh. That was heartwarming. And what I love is making Dylan happy. So we will take a break right here on The Zone at Sports Radio 810 WHB. Dylan Michaels. Dylan was cackling back there at something. Dylan was just laughing so hard. I love inside jokes. I would love to be a part of one someday.
Yeah.
I would love to be a part of one someday.
It's funny. I see you laugh. Everyone laughs at phone text. So I just don't point them out. So.
Sorry, Dylan. I thought maybe it was a funny meme that I would have liked. I like inside jokes. No, I was terrified when he came back. I was walking in here, and there was that turkey vulture yet again, that buzzard. It was pressed, its ugly little face up against this glass screen in here, and I let out a very loud expletive. Dylan was also laughing at me at that for being, I think, so scared of this flight. No, it's not a flightless bird. This bird that does fly. It is the largest bird I've probably ever seen up close, and that thing was like 4 feet away from me. And I'm just walking over to the glass, back over here to the chair, and it is literally just staring me down. It is not scared of me at all. If I can't scare a bird, I'm not scaring anyone. But still, this bird is not scared of anything. And it eventually flew away. It was on this lamppost. Then it took off. How long has it been here now? A couple weeks?
Yeah, I think Steven spotted it first.
I hate it.
Maybe.
I hate it. I'm like constantly on the lookout for this massive, terrifying bird that is eyeing me down 3 feet away from this glass partition. I don't think this glass is strong enough. Okay, if this bird wanted to get in here, it can. You're telling me I don't think it knows how to open doors?
Well, I think millions and millions of passed along birds that have flown into windows would say otherwise. But
there were small birds. This bird is large enough that I think it could do some damage.
I don't know.
Have you seen the beak on this thing?
Yeah.
That beak is...
He might break through the window, but...
It might not make it once it breaks through is what you're saying. Oh, I see it. It's coming up.
So.
Man, this thing is... All right, back to sports. I'm going to keep my eye on this thing, though. If you hear me yell, have the dump button ready. Damn vulture. All right. I went to break talking about Noah Cameron. We were talking with Josh Kaiser. What he would do was if let's just say Noah Cameron, who pitches tomorrow against the Twins, let's go ahead and say he deals. Dylan, let's go ahead and say Noah Cameron goes out. Let's say it's another 6-inning start, 1 run. He looks great. I posed, what do you do if Reagans and Lugo are healthy and ready to be called up, okay? He said he'd send Noah Cameron back down because you've already used his option. Doesn't really matter. All right, I get that. I think that's probably where the majority of people would lie. What if I posed you the 6-man rotation? What if I pose that if Noah Cameron keeps dealing, instead of moving, let's say, Michael Lorenzen to the bullpen, instead of sending Noah Cameron down, what if you just went with the 6-man rotation? I know there'll be a few that say, well, what about Noah Cameron in the Major League bullpen? Well, barring injury, you got to keep them stretched out. You want to at least have all 6 of these guys stretched out and ready to go. Don't mark that. You're a pitcher. You know this. Don't take what I say out of context.
Don't drag me into that.
Come on. I'm trying to have a serious conversation here, Dylan, and you're marking things out of context. Couldn't be me. But I think a 6-man rotation makes a lot of sense. Now, here's why, and then I want to get your thoughts on this, Dylan, because you obviously pitched in college. There's a lot of, I think, the mental side of things I want to get into with you. Seth Lugo threw 206 innings last year. 206 innings. That's the most innings he's thrown in a season by 60. 206. Michael Lorenzen. We'll go with Waka next, sorry. Michael Waka. Waka threw 166 last year, which was the second most he's ever thrown in a season. The most was 181 in 2015, 10 years ago.
Wow.
So, Michael Waka's had 29 starts last year, 24, 23, 29, 8, 29, 15. Like, he's not necessarily been the pinnacle of health. So, I know last year the only injury was that ankle. It wasn't a shoulder. It wasn't an arm. But don't you want to keep him fresh? I would like to keep him around that 160 mark again. I think 160 is a good number for Michael. I'd be thrilled with that.
And you don't need him to have all those innings either. He's not the guy you're relying on to go further into ball games.
But at times he has in his career.
Right, no,
he's gone 7,
it's
but
a luxury.
But a lot of times it's because he's missing starts. It's not because in each game, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's not like he's not going 6 or 7. It's because he's going 6 or 7, but he's going to miss 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games along the way. Right? So how can we keep him healthy? I know, again, last year, outlier ankle, that's not the same as a shoulder fatigue or anything along those lines. Chris Bubich, most innings he's ever pitched in a season is 130 in 2021. Obviously, he's been phenomenal, and he is a guy who's going from a reliever to a starter. Has not affected him so far. Will it catch up with him as the season goes on? Michael Lorenzen. Lorenzen's bounced back and forth from starter to reliever. Most innings he's ever thrown in a season is 153. Last year, threw 130. Cole Reagans, last year, threw 186. I'm not as worried with Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans, which, funny enough, those are the two guys who are injured right now. Kind of interestingly enough. Because at this point, they've shown they can go 180-plus innings, make all those starts, right? I'm pretty confident in those guys now. But wouldn't you want to have maybe a little insurance policy, even at the major league level, of a guy in Chris Bubich, who, again, is making that transition from reliever to starter? Wouldn't you want to have a guy up here who can help you maybe take some load and take some of the load off of Michael Wacha and Michael Lorenzen? And hell, maybe even keep Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo a little fresher later on into the year. I understand this is maybe a newer thought process that a lot of old school baseball fans are going to hate me even asking about having a 6-man rotation. I understand that thought process, but I think it might be best for the Royals long term if they do that, coupled with, again, the caveat that Noah Cameron keeps doing what he's doing. Again, I'm not saying he has to go out and throw zeros every single time, but if he's perpetually going 6 innings, giving up 0, 1, or 2 earned runs, I have a hard time feeling that that's not helping the Major League staff. Will it take away a guy in the bullpen? Yeah, it will. You're going to have to live with that. But if these guys keep going deeper and deeper into games, which they have, right, it doesn't matter quite as much. I don't know your thoughts here, Dylan, but if Noah Cameron keeps dealing, I'm completely fine and even maybe advocating for a 6-man rotation.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That brings out competition. That'll bring out the best of all the pitchers because no one will want to lose any spots hopefully when we make the postseason.
Exactly. And by the way, I wanted to ask you this because, again, you pitched in college, right? So if you were a starter in college, you said you did both.
Yep.
Does your mindset change if you're pitching every 5 days versus every 6? Would that be an adjustment period for a lot of these guys? Would they care that much? I know routines would have to shift at least a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it really is a preference. Because for me, I actually liked being in the bullpen more because, one, I played a lot more. I got to play every single day and pitch every day until you get like 1 day off that you need for your arm. But you also, if you don't have the greatest performance, you get to go right back out on the mound potentially and correct that. Whereas as a starter, if you have a bad game, you sit with that for 5 days and then also have to perform the next time, or else then we're looking at 10 days worth of mental, gymnastics trying to get around the fact that you just had 2 bad outings and maybe you're 1 away from not starting anymore or going down to the minors.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, you can correct a lot of mistakes, and also there's a lot less room for mistakes because really you're only expected to get 3 outs. Now they might be extremely high leverage outs, but that's your job. It's not to go through the order 3 times. Now, see, that's my mindset. It could be completely different for someone else that, frankly, to be honest, throws a lot harder than I did because I threw like 85, 86, which is pretty good, but at that level it ain't. Everyone's kind of starting to touch 90, and then those kids, when you get to the next level, everyone's throwing 90. I was a junior college pitcher, so there's, a little bit of a difference. There's a level difference, but, yeah, I would say in my personal opinion, I liked the bullpen better, just because one, I don't like to sit around and watch a baseball game. Sorry. I want to play. I want to be in the game.
No, I get it. I'm 100% with you.
So like once every 5 days, while I'm pitching more, I'm also sitting a lot more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Because I can go out of the bullpen and still pitch 3 innings sometimes.
Sure.
Because that's once through the order.
And so in that instance, then you have to wait an extra day if it's a 6-man rotation. That would be the negative. That means with guys like Chris Bubich and you would think Cole Reagans, that's an extra day in between their starts, and those are kind of, at least so far,
And they're creatures. That's the other thing. All of them, regardless of bullpen or starter, are creatures of habit. So you're throwing off what they're already used to, especially if they're veterans.
For me, I'll still say it. If Noah Cameron continues to pitch the way he has pitched, though, I'm 100% content with a 6-man rotation to try and keep the Royals pitching staff healthy and maybe allows them to feel a little fresher later on into the season as it progresses. And again, it's sometimes when you pitch so well, you force yourself onto the roster and to stay on the roster, even if there might not be a spot. And I think Noah Cameron, again, small sample size so far, has been doing that. We will take a break. We will come back right here on The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. or Leisure coming away next. First in, first on. Bethany Bowman's going to be doing the leisure side. Bethany Bowman from She's on the Mic. I will be doing the sports side. It's going to be a lot of fun, so make sure you call in, sports or leisure. Make Dylan have to work those phone lines, baby. Work them, Dylan. T-Wolves guard Anthony Edwards fined yet again $50,000 this time for using profane language during a media interview. Quote saying, "I only took 13 bleeping shots in the defeat." You might say, well, why are you bringing this up? This now makes the fine total for Anthony Edwards' season $430,000. That's a discipline bill, baby. Nearly $500,000. Sports or Leisure next. Welcome back into the Zone. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Bethany Bowman from She's on the Mic. Bethany, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Look at us.
I know.
Doing a show together.
Congratulations on being the leisure person today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I have some good ones.
You have some good ones?
This is my first time, so I didn't want to come on and have too hard of questions, but I also was like, I don't want to make it easy either.
In the words of Mick Schaefer, it's everyone wins. So it should be fairly easy.
I want people to get the gift cards, but you got to earn it.
So what you got to do, you got to call in first and foremost, 913-381-0810. You will answer a sports or a trivia question, whichever one first. But then you got to do both, because we're not just going to do half-ass. We're full-ass. You got to get both a trivia question from sports and leisure side correct, and then you will get $25 gift card to Johnny's Tavern, which if you want to bring me or Bethany.
I like Johnny's.
I like Johnny's a lot. So if you want to bring either one of us, you can buy us a beer. And I will drink it because I'm just that nice of a guy. So that's how you play the game of sports. And quite frankly, Jason's not here. So, and leisure, because it's both. Sports and leisure. We're doing it today. T-Box. T-Box up first. T-Box, how are you?
Categories.
Oh, yeah, we got to do
the categories, gentlemen.
Hang on, T-Box.
T-Box, you got to hold on. I was a little too excitable right there. Sports side, NBA history, Chiefs trivia. Super simple. Bethany.
I've got 3 leisure categories. Number 1, AC/DC, in honor of Todd Levo, just seeing them in Nashville this week.
Nice.
Second one, Weekend Warriors. It's pertaining to activities people engage in on the weekends. And then third is Kansas City.
Oh, nice. I'm ready. Bethany's ready. Dylan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Wow. Sounds like it. I was so ready.
Enthusiasm.
It oozes.
Pours through the microphone.
It oozes from Dylan. All right, now you're on T-Box. T-Box, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, guys.
Yeah, so without Jason here, I get too excited. I'm an efficient man, T-Box, so that was my fault for being too efficient. What side do you want, sports side or leisure side?
Well, I got to go with Bethany first. Give me a little AC/DC.
Okay.
Preferably older.
Okay, older. I did, okay these questions with Todd Levo. He told me to take out a few that were, because he's an expert, so he likes the ones I kept, though. So which AC/DC album features the hit song Highway to Hell?
It's Highway to Hell.
It's Highway to Hell.
Oh, come on. What are we doing here? You can't use a title track, Bethany.
Trick question.
Gosh.
That is a great question.
It's a good question.
Bowman? All right.
They'll get harder.
Sports side.
I like T-Box.
Sports side T-Box.
How about some old NBA, back when Angus Young was playing in the NBA?
We can go back before then. The 1961-62 season was historic for a multitude of reasons. One, Elgin Baylor averaged 26 and was at 15 a game while also having to be in the military. But it was more impressive for a different reason. This player in the 1961-62 season averaged a triple-double.
Well, it's going to either be Wilt or Oscar Robertson. Wilt had to have. I'll guess Chamberlain.
Oh.
Or Oscar is what I meant.
We'll go with the Big O. What do you think? I'll give him one. It's the T-Box first time. You're the first caller, so I got to at least show you some love here. Yes, the 1961-62 season, Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double. Got close a couple other times, including one year he had 9.9 rebounds. Not quite, but 61-62 he did. T-Box, that is a winner.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to the original Johnny's in North Lawrence.
Hey, love that.
Love that one.
Dylan is even more excited because you said Lawrence, and he's a KU guy. So he's back there absolutely thrilled. All right, that is a winner. Next up, we have Kevin. Kevin, sports or leisure?
Let's go with leisure first. Did we have a weekend warrior category?
Yes, we do. All right, so
let's give that a shot.
First one I've got on this one. According to a recent study, do more people refer to the fun backyard game as cornhole or bags?
I would say cornhole.
It is cornhole.
Yeah, good answer. That's the correct answer. If you call it bags, you're not good.
No.
If you call it bags, you're not good at cornhole. What do they call it on the SEC network? That's my point. Johnsonville Johnson Cornhole Championship. It's not the bags championship.
I'm sad to say the bags name is more prevalent in the Midwest. It says here on this little trivia question, but cornhole dominates elsewhere. I refuse to call it bags.
No, we
I don't
won't
want to
do
be
it.
associated with that.
If you say bags, then you want to be on my team. No, if you say bags and you want to play against me, I'll take you on, and we're going to be betting for it. All right, Kevin, sports side, Chiefs trivia or NBA history?
Let's go with Chiefs.
All right, Chiefs. What Chiefs quarterback holds the team's record for career interceptions thrown with 178?
I'll say Lynn Dawson.
It is Lynn Dawson. Lynn Dawson. Poor Lynn. I didn't mean to come up with a bad one, but at least that way, you know, he's still great in our hearts, but he's also number one in interceptions thrown. That means you played a long time. But Kevin, congratulations.
My first favorite Chiefs player.
Hey, love that. Well, you are going to our favorite place, which is Johnny's Tavern. Congratulations, and you get to talk to Dylan.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, that is another winner, 2-0. Let's go to Charles. Charles, sports or leisure?
Let's do some leisure. Got a Kansas City category?
Yeah, we got a Kansas City category. Let me scroll down to that one.
Let's do it.
I got questions for days. All right. There's only one place in the world with more fountains than Kansas City. This is the City of Fountains.
Oh,
name for Kansas City. Where is the one place in the world with more fountains than Kansas City?
Paris.
It is Rome.
Hey, you don't give the answer.
Sorry. This is my first time.
That's all right.
Bethany.
Sorry.
Oh, Bethany. Charles, what do we do? We've never had this happen before. Do we let Charles win?
Should I?
Well, no,
can I give him another one?
He got the answer wrong.
Should I give him another one?
Yeah, let's give him another one.
Let's give him
Okay,
Charles.
Okay.
You got saved. And by the way, I feel like that question, by the way, is very misleading because Kansas City is the Paris of the Plains. So I see where Charles was coming from. By the way, but enchanté, that was not the correct answer.
I get it now.
All right, ask Charles another question. If he gets it wrong, you don't give him the correct answer.
Okay, I just say no, that's wrong. Okay. You're welcome, Charles. Here we go. What are the Kansas City Royals named after?
American Royal.
It is the American Royal.
Congratulations. Second time's the charm. The first question didn't even happen. Not even real. All right, Charles. She might actually be nicer than me in this game. This might be most people
I
win.
messed up, so I got to give it to him.
Sports side, NBA history, or Chiefs trivia?
Chiefs trivia.
All right, Charles, who set the Chiefs' single-season team record for sacks in 2014 with 22?
Chris Jones.
2014.
2014.
2014. Chris Jones was not playing. 2014, most sacks in Chiefs' single-season history in 2014 with 22. The quarterback had a problem.
Quarterback had a problem. That's Justin Houston.
That is Justin Houston. Quarterback had a problem. Houston didn't have a problem. Congratulations. We got there. But on this show without Jason,
everybody wins.
Almost everybody wins. Charles, congratulations.
I can't believe you sullied the game that
I'm
has
sorry.
so much. No, it's a sarcasm back
I
there.
won twice.
Yeah, he won twice. That's what you call that? Integrity. Pass it on. Congratulations, Charles.
In a good way. Thank you.
913-381-810. It's sports or leisure. Next up
Sterling
is...
gets on you for giving out answers as he hands out the answers.
Literally,
in
I
these
know.
cards.
Well, I said
he gave an
quarterback has
answer,
a-
and you said 2014. Like, isn't that an answer?
That was
I
pretty...
mean-
No, it's part of the question.
No, but didn't he give an answer already?
He
And
did,
then-
but I don't let
okay.
him know that Chris Jones wasn't playing back then, so I felt like I needed to help him.
Okay.
Not my fault. I'm a nice man. Okay, but I will not be nice to this man. That is Avery, because Avery is too smart. And Avery, Bethany, you don't know this. Avery gets every question almost right, so we have to try and give him your hardest question. Avery, sports or leisure?
Yeah, I got them all almost right. Hey, when I was 20, I got trained as an umpire by T-Box.
Oh, wow.
Is that serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
My first game, he was talking my ear off, and I'm trying to make a call at first, and I'm like, I say, safe. And the lady running to first is still like 15 feet away from the bag. I'm like, out. Tom was telling me like a long story about Russell, Kansas.
So I'm assuming you didn't last long then, Avery?
I did it for 2 years. I got better when Tom wasn't talking to me.
I wonder if you guys ever did one of my games. That could be possible. If you ever had a kid who was obnoxious, then yeah, that might have been me.
We just did adult softball out in Lawrence.
Okay. All right. Well, Avery, sports side, leisure side, where you starting?
Let's do Kansas City.
Okay, and I went through 2 questions on that last one, so I'm probably running out of Kansas City questions. I think I have a few more here. I'm going to give you a hard one, because you said he's pretty good, Sterling. So the Country Club Plaza in Kansas City, Missouri, is considered
Spain.
Considered the nation's first planned suburban shopping center, according to multiple sources. Was built in 1923. It was designed and accommodated to accommodate shoppers arriving by automobile, and was developed by who?
Oh.
I know.
Is it J.C. Nichols?
It is J.C. Nichols, yeah.
Good job, Avery. See, I
didn't know that was an architect. I was just like, I guess that's okay.
He even got the Spain part right. This is why Avery he should be on legit Jeopardy. All right, Avery. Sports side. Sports history, NBA, or Chiefs history?
I'll do sports history, NBA.
All right. I don't have any hard ones on this, but I'll do it either way. Who has the... Oh, no, here we go. When the Kansas City Kings were playing in Kansas City, name 2 All-Stars from that time period.
Otis Birdsong and Tiny Archibald.
Correct. Wow. You had Otis Birdsong. You had Tiny Archibald. You had Sam Lacey. And you had Scott Wedman. So you had those 4. So congratulations, Avery. You got maybe the hardest NBA one there. You are going to Johnny's Tavern.
Well, yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Of course, Avery. And even then, he needs to take me sometime to as much money as Avery has won on this show. I mean, how much Johnny's Tavern gift cards has he won? He has to at least be 500. Probably won 20 times.
Wow.
Avery, take me sometime. You should just save up all the Johnny's Taverns, like money, all the gift cards, and then just go all out one time. That'd be phenomenal.
They don't have an app I don't like. I don't think.
They have everything good. Everything that is good is at Johnny's Tavern. 913-3-810-810 is the phone line for sports or leisure. Next up is Tim. Tim, sports or leisure?
Oh, man, I thought there was still one ahead of me, and I was on deck. Geez. Tempted to do AC/DC, but I don't know. So let's do AC/DC.
All right, AC/DC. Let's go with this one. What year did AC/DC release their iconic album, Back in Black?
Is this multiple choice?
It can be.
No, you should know when this is.
I can give.
Dylan knows too, don't you?
You're right. Oh my gosh! Okay.
What year did AC/DC release their iconic album, Back in Black?
It was definitely before I graduated high school, which was the early '80s. So back in. This is embarrassing.
No, if I know this, you should get this.
I can give him multiple choice.
Tim, I believe in you. I'll give you 2 guesses. How about that?
Is there another song? Is there a title of a song that's the year?
No.
By a different band?
Oh, maybe.
Okay, it was how about this?
That's close, though.
It was their comeback album after the death of their original lead singer, Bon Scott. Does that help?
Yeah. I wish you would have asked me the name of their original singer. I know that.
Well, that's too easy, Tim. Come on now.
I do have that one on here, so I guess that's too easy.
Say you're giving away all your answers, Bethany.
I'm not going to ask that one now because it's too easy. I have like 15. So.
I didn't hear anything.
What did you answer?
Yeah. So it's got to be 78?
Higher.
Oh, really?
I'll give you.
Reed,
Okay, don't get on me, guys, about being too nice here. Unbelievable.
I know the answer, and maybe it's because I'm a music nerd, but I knew the exact year, and so I told him before I will give him 2 guesses. He guessed 78. That's not correct. It came out later than 78. I won't say how much later, but I will say it was later than 78. He gets one more guess because on this game, I'm a generous man.
80.
That is correct. 1980.
Oh, man, I almost wrecked my car.
If you would have said 79, I would have had to have been really disappointed. If you would have said 79,
I know.
I would have been, but you didn't. Congratulations on this game.
Well, thank you.
Great album.
Okay.
That album proved that they were back.
Back in black.
NBA history or music, or not music trivia, Chiefs trivia.
Is my trivia is the Chiefs stuff all like more than a decade or so in the past?
Yeah.
Or it could be any time.
It could be any time. It just depends on what era do you want.
Oh, geez, that's nice of you. The modern last decade. I'll go with it.
Oh man, that's going to be a lot harder to find. I wish you would not have done
Can't
that.
find Justin Houston Part 2. Okay, then you can open it up.
Okay, how about this one? This is a good one. What former Chiefs running back was inducted into the team's Hall of Honor in 2014? So that's like pre-Jamal Charles, obviously. There's obviously one guy who played before then that wouldn't be because of maybe some arguments with the staff and got traded and all that stuff. But what running back got inducted into the Chiefs Hall of Honor in 2014?
And he wasn't inducted in the other team's Hall of Honor, Ring of Honor, right?
No, I would be. Yeah, you're probably thinking Marcus Allen. No, it's not Marcus Allen. No.
Yeah. Priest Holmes?
Yes, Priest Holmes is correct.
Woo!
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice one there.
I love the Priest.
Favorite player. That's what really got me into football. Him and Dante Hall as a kid. Of course, I had to have a Priest Holmes jersey. I'd be silly to not have a Priest Holmes jersey.
Yeah. And I put an MA on the front of it and blanked out the L to make it a Mahomes number 31.
I like it. Now, what you should do is keep the L, go Mahomes with it, block out the 3, and then put a 5 on it. Then it's a legit one.
There you go.
I think I'm onto something here. Tim, congratulations. You are a winner right here on Sports or Leisure.
Thank you, guys. And
we're just handing out winners left and
Literally
right.
the Oprah Winfrey show right now.
You get a win.
You get a car.
You
get a car.
Dylan, you get to go to Johnny's Tavern. Congratulations.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, 913-3810.
Can't believe Bethany crushed the integrity of this game.
Seriously, I would never. Personally, I would never.
And then Sterling handed out 3 more chances right after that.
I would never.
I don't want to hear it.
That is the rules of this game.
Don't want to
The
hear
rule of the game is that I'm a generous man.
Call in and we'll give you a card.
913-3810-810, sports and or leisure right here on the Zone. One more before we take a break. John up, sports or leisure. How you doing, John?
I am great. How are y'all?
Doing wonderful.
Good.
Sports side, leisure side.
Let's go leisure. And how about a good Kansas City question?
All right. What barbecue menu item was actually created by accident?
Oh, that's burn ends.
It is burn ends.
That is burn. As Lebo walks by.
Got a little follow up for that. So burn ends essentially were a happy accident that became a Kansas City barbecue staple. At Arthur Bryant's, the burnt tips of the brisket were often discarded as unusable for the sandwiches, and they were offered as a free snack to customers waiting in line. But the crispy, smoky, and flavorful scraps became so popular, customers started requesting them as a menu item.
I would love if they still gave those bad boys out as free snacks. I think, quite frankly, we need to go back to the free snack burn-in era. Personally, sounds delicious to me. All right, John, sports side, NBA history or Chiefs trivia?
Let's do Chiefs trivia. Probably the older the better, but it's dealer's choice, so it's up to you.
Ooh, older the better. I had one actually pulled up. Let's see. Older the better. Would you know 70s, or is that too old?
No, I can handle 70s.
What Chiefs running back was the first player inducted into the team's Hall of Honor? There's also an award named after him now.
Oh, Mac Lee Hill.
Mac Lee Hill. Congratulations. I didn't know if giving that was too easy, but I thought that also might have been too hard if I said that. Dylan, would you have known that without the hint? That's my baseline here, John, as a heads up.
Absolutely not.
So, okay, then that's fair. That's a fair question. Because if Dylan can't get it without it, then I can't expect, everyone to get it, because Dylan's a football savant back there. So, John, congratulations. You just won $25 to Johnny's Tavern and a conversation with Dylan.
Thank you both.
See, look at that.
Congratulations.
Bethany, it's just that simple. That's sports. That's leisure. That's both. That's just handing money out like we are Oprah. We will take a break. We will come back 913-381-810. Sports or leisure right here in the zone. Back after this. Welcome back to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Bethany Bowman as we play a game of sports and or leisure. Sports side, let's read some of the categories. Sports side, NBA history and Chiefs trivia. Bethany, on the leisure side, what do we have?
We've got AC/DC, Weekend Warriors, and Kansas City.
You can call in 913-381-810 as we were playing for $25 to Johnny's Tavern on a game that almost everyone wins. Almost every single one wins. I see Brian on a hold right now. I'm going to get you in 1 second, but I have to ask Bethany this question. Lebo has a beard right now after going to the AC/DC concert. He was gone 2 days. I have never once seen him with a beard, and I am perplexed. I am confused. Why doesn't he grow up more? He's got decent follicles, not on his head, of course, but on the beard side of things. I think Lebo should try and grow a full-ass beard.
Can you say ass on the radio? I was wondering that.
You can say ass.
Wow, good to know.
Like 2 scoops of ass.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you can say ass.
Okay, great. I like the little scruff he's got going on right now. We never see that.
Never.
But,
I have never seen this.
He's a clean-shaven guy, but he probably couldn't go too beard. I kind of like it how it is now.
Yeah, it's a good beard. Lebo, hear that? Leave your scruff, guy. Okay? Go to more concerts and come back with that, with the 3-day non-shave. Looks good on you, pal. All right, Brian. Brian, now sports or leisure. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Doing well. Sports side, leisure side.
Let's go ahead and try the AC/DC. I went and saw the first date of the tour back in April in Minneapolis. It was a great show.
Okay.
Awesome. I've not seen AC/DC in years. It has been like nearly. No, I take it back. I saw about probably 5 years ago, and before that, it had been like 15 years. Always incredible in concert. Good to hear.
Yep.
Which member of AC/DC is known for wearing a schoolboy uniform during performances?
Angus
Young.
Come on. Lebo made these?
No, he okayed them.
Lebo okayed these? Come on. We all know it's
There was
Angus.
a few he was like, I wouldn't use that, it's too hard.
Easy questions are better for the show because then we don't have to give them 100 hints.
Yeah,
to
I
give them
know,
the
but like,
exactly.
Which
That's
album
where you come in.
which album had wires hanging out of his arms for the album cover? What about that one, Brian?
Wires.
You've already won.
Justin Timberlake hint here.
Is it Power Ridge?
Yes, it is. See? It's just that simple.
Don't worry, if you don't get it right, Sterling will just tell
Exactly.
you.
Well, we're trying to learn and teach at the same damn time. Good job, Brian. All right, sports side now. Chiefs trivia or NBA history?
I'm going to have to go Chiefs trivia. I'm not a big NBA guy.
All righty. What Chiefs guard was selected to 12 consecutive Pro Bowls from 1995 through 2006?
I think it would have to be Hall of Famer Will Shields, wouldn't it?
That is Hall of Famer Will Shields. Good job, Brian. That was easy. Look at it. It is just that simple on Sports or Leisure. Congratulations, Brian. You won $25 to Johnny's Tavern and a chance to talk with Dylan.
Thanks, guys.
I don't know what's more impressive. What would you rather have? I love Johnny's Tavern, and $25 gets you a lot at Johnny's Tavern. But a conversation with Dylan, I've dreamed of that.
Priceless.
Day after day.
Literally priceless.
You can't.
We don't even get
free.
that really if you work here. Like sometimes you walk in and Dylan's like, not right now. I am.
That is well.
I'll try.
Not totally true. Now that's pre-coffee. Like if I haven't had a cup of coffee.
Well, and pre-coffee,
8 of them.
Yeah, pre-coffee. It's not 1 or 2.
Right.
It's 4 or 5.
That'd be a normal human consumption. The unhealthy consumption of one Dylan Michaels is more than 1 pot of coffee. I'd say.
Oh, easy.
In a day?
Yeah, easy.
But are you guys the ones that are taking the last cup in the break room and
not.
not making another
We're
one?
the ones that actually make it more than anyone else, and we're the on-air staff. And
I
we're the
adhere
ones.
to Master Yoda's commands. So.
Do you think it's the sales guys back there?
Has to be. Has to be a sales
Has to
guy.
be.
Overton.
Paul.
Gilbert.
Now I've
Luke.
seen them making the next pot, so it can't be.
Oh, man.
Again, and anyone that didn't know, Master Yoda has a nice quote on the fridge that has everything laid out for people that don't refill the pot.
913-381-810, sports and or leisure. But yeah, so for those that don't care because they're not part of the people who walk around here, we do have a pretty devastating thing that happens here at Union Broadcasting, and this is really, really important, is people will finish the last cup of coffee and then just not refill it. So we've had to resort to putting signs up to try and police ourselves. I think there's a camera now that Gabe set up, so that way there's an actual camera to find out who's the person, who's not.
No integrity anymore.
And that's also in the same breath as the elf on a shelf, so as that camera, which it exists in your mind.
Yeah, it doesn't actually exist, I don't think. I think it's on a loop. And I've blocked it. I spray painted it because the one time I didn't want to fill the pot up, I just decided to take it out because, come on now, I'm not going to fill it. I'm busy. I got things going on, and it's not that fun. It's just not that fun. But, yeah, there is an epidemic of not filling the coffee back up, and I am convinced it is actually Bethany Bowman.
I don't know. That's not true. I don't drink the coffee here, actually.
So then you don't fill it.
I only have
Got her technicality.
I don't fill it because I don't drink it.
Well, did you hear that? Mark it.
Well,
she doesn't fill it.
Yeah.
I have 1 cup of coffee a day. I get it from my house, and I don't have any more after that.
Smart move.
So
I try and do that, but 1 turns to 10, so.
Yeah, Dylan is an absolute maniac.
I'm a Diet Dr. Pepper.
If Dylan ever gave up coffee, I'd be terrified. Like it'd be like a smoker giving up smoking, and then
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Cold turkey.
Yep.
Oh, you would be terrifying. I would hit the quickest breaks just for you. Like I'd be in the middle of a conversation with someone,
that's all it takes?
and Dylan would say break, and we're done. Break, we're going, because Dylan would be a terrifying man if that were the case. Sports or leisure, 913-381-810. Again, resetting the categories. We have NBA history. We have Chiefs trivia. Bethany has some AC/DC that has been very, very popular. That person didn't actually want it.
No, those are my favorite.
They didn't want it.
I got disconnected, my bad, and then hang up. That's funny. So
that's great. We were going to,
probably
give him a free
gift
give
card.
him a free gift card. Exactly.
It's really not hard. You don't have to try and lie for your free gift card at Johnny's Tavern. We'll make you slightly earn it, but it's easy.
We'll cut you a deal.
You don't have to try and pretend.
My dream is that our number ends up in one of those sales, lead purchase things, and we get one of those callers just on this day during this time, and they
that would be
sell something, and we put them on.
I would say, you know what? I'd give them the hardest one. If you get this right,
hang on.
Oh, they might be back. If they get this one correct, then that's what we should do. If they got that correct, we might purchase your product. I'd do that.
Depends on the product.
Well, it depends on the product if I need it or not, but maybe you might need it. Maybe Lebo might needs it. Maybe K-Dog might need it. Who knows?
If they're selling salads, he's over there eating a big salad. It always looks so good.
Curtis is crushing a salad back there. Shane, sports or leisure. Shane, how you doing?
Hey, guys, sorry, I just got back in the car. I hadn't been listening, but sports, I'll just try sports. What do you got for me?
We have Chiefs trivia and NBA history.
Ooh, NBA history.
All right, NBA history. This one's fairly easy, but it's fun. I talked about the 1961-62 season because I think that's the most impressive season in NBA history. It was before a lot of rule changes came about and came in place. We talked about it. The first guy to get a triple-double was that year with Oscar Robertson. Elgin Baylor averaged 36, 15, and 5 while also being in military service. Insane. But also in that same 61-62 season, this man averaged over 50 points and 25 rebounds a game.
Okay, well, that's got to be, okay, that's one of two guys, I'm guessing, in my head here, off my head. 50 and 25, you said?
He averaged 50.4 points, averaged 25.7 rebounds a game. Again, the same year that Elgin Baylor did his thing, while Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double.
Was he, okay. I'm trying to think. Either he was a Jayhawk or he was a guy who played way out west. My guess.
It technically could have kind of been both.
I guess say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it could have technically could have been both. But yeah, he also did play.
Yeah, I was thinking college out west, so I was between two guys, but two of the better big men in the history of the game. I'm going to guess it's Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes, it was Wilt Chamberlain. Were you guessing or assuming Bill Russell then?
Yes, I was from San Francisco.
Yeah, which is even funnier. Bill Russell actually won the MVP that year, which I find hilarious. Nothing against Bill Russell. Great year. But he averaged 19, 23, and 4, while Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50 and 25. And Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double for the first time in NBA history, and somehow Bill Russell was the man that that won MVP. In fairness to Bill, that team, Boston, went 60 and 20 that year and did win in the NBA Finals. So, little history lesson for you. All right, Bethany, leisure side.
I've got AC/DC, Kansas City, or Weekend Warriors pertaining to activities people engage in on the weekends.
Bethany, is the AC/DC about the band AC/DC?
Yes.
Okay. I thought maybe it's a clever title and I didn't know. But yeah, I'll try AC/DC. Let's go.
AC/DC. Okay, which AC/DC song was famously used as the theme for the movie Iron Man 2?
Iron Man 2. Let's see, that would have been. Oh, was it? Oh, I don't remember. I've seen that movie. It's so long ago.
That movie was really thrilling, though. I always thought.
Yeah. Shoot, this is a hard one.
Yeah, that is a hard one, and with your guys' your hints there.
To who it may concern.
Right? Would it be Shoot to Thrill?
It would be. No, shockingly, it was Who Made Who. I know, weird. Yeah, congratulations, Shane. That's a winner.
Thank you, guys.
See,
have a great holiday weekend.
And you as well. Have a good one. And you get a $25 gift card to Johnny's Tavern and a conversation with Dylan. Yeah, that was relatively tough. He may have got it without our hints, but sometimes hints are fun. And I didn't realize I was going to give it right away when I said the movie was thrilling, but of course that's going to
He still needed 2 more.
No, he knew it. Shane knew, okay? He just wanted to play like he wanted us to give more hints.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Sherlock.
I don't pick up on sarcasm well.
No?
That's why when you come in the mornings and you're all sarcastic at 8 a.m., I'm not here for it, Sterling.
Yeah, Bethany's not a fan of my sarcasm at 8 a.m. when I come in here. She's very put off by it, I think, quite frankly. 913-3-810-810. A couple more, a little more time for sports and or leisure, NBA history, as well as Chiefs trivia. Next up is Matt. Matt, sports or leisure?
Let's go leisure, please. Can you remind me the categories?
Yes, AC/DC or Kansas City or Weekend Warriors, activities people engage in on the weekends.
Let's try Kansas City.
All right, so what famous cheesy snack loved by kids but also adults was first created in Kansas City?
Did you say TV snack?
Famous cheesy.
Oh, cheesy
yes.
snack.
Loved by kids but also adults, first created here in Kansas City.
Ooh. That is.
I mean, my first thought when I go to cheesy is mac and cheese.
It's not mac and cheese.
But it's a cheesy snack. Let's try and get here because I don't know either. I thought it was going to be Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its were not. They were made and founded in Dayton, Ohio. Am I wrong?
Nah, that's not what I've got. I've got Cheez-Its. And I actually asked this question to Lebo, and he immediately was like, Cheez-Its, yeah. And he said Sunshine Biscuits. And I'm like, yeah, that's right here in the info. So the famous snack cracker first made by the Green and Green Company in Kansas City in 1921 before being bought by Sunshine Biscuits. And also, so you're just giving away answers now?
Well, I'm just saying I'm seeing something different here. Give him another one.
That's all. That's all I've got for Kansas City. I'm gonna need Weekend Warriors or AC/DC.
Weekend Warrior.
Okay. Which day of the week is most associated with mowing the lawn in suburban culture?
I'm gonna say Saturday. Saturday.
It is Saturday.
Wow, congratulations. I thought it was Sunday. Dylan and I were both wrong.
Sunday's day of rest.
Yeah.
Sunday's
well,
a
that's
day of rest,
fair.
yeah. Church.
Well, that's not really. I'm still resting and mowing the lawn. I'm not like breaking a sweat out there.
You'd burn up if you walked into a church. So.
What do you mean? I go every once in a while. Come on. You got Christmas and Easter.
Hey.
What?
I don't.
You said you hate me?
I didn't say hey. I said I don't like those people that only go in there. They take up all the pews.
That's not my fault. All right. Sports side. NBA history or Chiefs trivia?
Chiefs trivia, please.
All right. What era would you like?
More recent, I guess. Anything more recent as opposed to way back.
Okay. Do the early 2000s-ish work for you?
That works.
Okay.
What do you prefer?
Who was Dylan? Don't say that to me. I'm nice. I give people options. Who was the head coach of the Chiefs from 2006 to 2008?
That was Herm Edwards.
That was Herm Edwards. Good call. We leave on a winner. Congratulations. You have won $25 to Johnny's Tavern.
Awesome. Thank you.
See, just like that. And that is how you played the game. Congratulations, Bethany. You did a very fine job for your first time doing this.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. Jason would be proud. I think Dylan's more proud because you were harder than I was. Right? She's more of a hard... Come on. Don't mark that. I saw your face. Dylan, why do you have to go there?
I didn't.
But why do you got to go there? I saw your face.
I like giving things away, but like you are just.
And you're not gonna mark that one, Dylan. Come on.
I'm trying to take the caller's name. I can't hear anything.
Fine. We'll take a break. Kyle walked in just to mark that. We'll take a break.
Yeah,
Come
I owed
back.
him one.
Zone Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to The Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB, wrapping up this Thursday edition. Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels, Bethany Bowman from She Is on the Mic. Jason Anderson should be back tomorrow. A couple games I want to get into that happened tonight. Hockey, NBA, get our predictions on those. Little Jack Caglione update since he's gone to Omaha. He's played in 2 games. He's had 9 plate appearances, and he has 3 hits. All singles. But he's 3 for 9, batting .333. Let's go. That's a 3 in front of it. I don't care that one of them was a swinging bunt. Still counts, baby. Still counts. He has 2 strikeouts, no walks, 3 for 9, 3 singles in 2 games in AAA. That is your Jack Caglione update. All right, let's go with hockey because Dylan likes hockey. He watches hockey. I'm not a big hockey guy, but for Dylan and
Host
that
of the Casey Maverick show, Sterling Holmes,
and that luscious beard, I like the ECHL. By the way, they're playing tonight.
They are. They're rolling.
They are rolling. Mavs always roll. In NHL, Florida Panthers.
Yes.
Carolina. Florida leads 1-0. Game in Carolina. Carolina needs this one at home. Dylan.
You're going to want to take the Florida Panthers in this one, folks. And also you want to tune in for the start of this game because there was an incident at the end of the game that caused a massive fight and ejection. And basically the Panthers have all said that there's going to potentially be a drop-the-gloves 5-on-5 fight to start a playoff hockey game, which rarely happens.
That is incredible. Is that what they've alluded to?
Correct. So they have a lot of no-comment responses to reactions to a puck that was shot off of one of their players from the other end of the ice after the other team was down 3-0 in the ending moments of Game 1, to which the man then started a fight and got thrown out, and he's like one of their leaders. So
I love this.
Take the Panthers.
I was pretty ticked off. He tried to take a run at me. I shot the puck at him, and It is what it is. Had a little tuffle. Let's go. Love this. 7 o'clock. Better believe I'm tuned in. Dylan, I'm taking your word for it.
Yep.
Going with Florida. Florida man over here. Florida Panthers. NBA tonight. This one I will be watching on ESPN right here. Minnesota Timberwolves against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder won Game 1 very convincingly with stifling defense, especially in the second half. I'm going Thunder again. They moved to 2-0. Bethany.
Thunder.
Thunder moved to 2-0. Dylan.
Yeah, I think Thunder. I don't like it.
Now
I don't like it
the Timberwolves don't be on the same page as you guys. Come on now. Can't do that. Bethany, appreciate it.
Thanks so much. This was fun.
This was The Zone right here, Sports Radio 810 WHB. The program coming your way next.